Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you, JW, Cynthia, Patricia, Brenda, the ugly truckling, King Paco, all you fine folks. What a day do we have? I hope you guys enjoyed the new videos this morning. There'll be another one coming out very shortly. I think I have two more that I'll be releasing over the weekend. So keep an eye out for those. Those will be definitely something to see. So I was enjoying. Good morning, 4:30 just to come in here. Wow, I wasn't even up that early. Joke not. No, I was not. I was sleeping. My, oh my. It is going to be a crazy weekend. Let me tell you, it's going to be a crazy weekend because things are already starting. Like, it's this is bad. This is bad. So, in case a lot of you don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but it looks like Paris opened its Olympic Games. They're hosting the Olympics this year. And if that tells you anything right there, arson attacks paralyzed French high-speed rail networks hours before start of Olympics. France's high-speed rail network was hit Friday with widespread and criminal acts of vandalism, including arson attacks, paralyzing travel from Paris to across the rest of France and Europe, only hours before the grand opening ceremony of the Olympics. The French officials condemned the attacks as criminal actions, and prosecutors in Paris opened a national investigation, saying the crimes could carry a sentence of 15 to 20 years. Now, I was reading something about this earlier, and I'll get into that. But as Paris authorities geared up for a spectacular parade and along the Seine River, 3 fires were reported near the tracks of the high-speed lines of Antilles Nord and Est, causing disruptions and affected hundreds of thousands of travelers. Among them were 2 German athletes in show jumping who were on a train to Paris to take part in the opening ceremony, but had to turn back in Belgium because of the closures, and will now miss the ceremony. German news agency DPA reported there was no longer a chance of making it on time. Rider Philip Weissoff, who traveled with teammate Christian Kukuk. What? Kukuk? Man, what a name. Kukuk. French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal wrote on the social media platform X that France's intelligence services had been mobilized to find the perpetrators. Why do you have to write it on X? Why not, just put it in the news? He characterized them as acts of sabotage and were prepared and coordinated. There was no known reports of injuries. The transport minister described people fleeing from the scenes of fires and the discovery of incendiary devices. Everything indicates that these are criminal fires. The incidents paralyzed several high-speed lines linking Paris to the rest of France and to neighboring countries. The French National Rail Company, SNCF, said that areas affecting rail track intersections were targeted to double the impact. For one fire, 2 destinations were hit. It was premeditated, calculated, coordinated attack, a desire to seriously harm. The attack occurred against a backdrop of global tensions and heightened security measures as the city prepared for the 24 Olympics. Many travelers were planning to converge on the capital for opening ceremonies, and many vacationers were also in transit. French authorities have foiled several plots to disrupt the Olympics, including arresting a Russian man on suspicion of planning to destabilize the games. Also Friday, French airport of Mulhouse on the border with Germany and Switzerland was evacuated in the morning and remained temporarily closed for safety reasons, the airport said. It wasn't clear whether there was a connection to the rail attacks. The disruptions particularly affected Paris's major train station, where the station's hall was full of travelers. Though have been to that station. That's a really neat station. The Paris police prefecture concentrated its personnel in Parisian train stations after the massive attack that paralyzed the high-speed network. The Paris chief told France Info Television many passengers at Gare du Nord, one of Europe's busiest train stations, been to that one too, were looking for answers and the solutions on Friday morning. all eyes were on the central message boards as most services to northern France, Belgium, and the United Kingdom were delayed. It's a hell of a way to start the Olympics. Yeah. They should have more information for tourists, especially if it's a malicious attack, said Corey Granger, a 37-year-old Australian sales manager, on his way to London as he rested on his 2 suitcases in the middle of the station. Well, yeah, this is what happens. These troubles come ahead of the opening ceremony has been planned for later Friday, in which 7,000 Olympic athletes were due to sail down the Seine past iconic Parisian monuments such as the Notre Dame Cathedral, the Louvre Museum, and Musée d'Orsay. How have the French declared NATO Article 5 and sounded retreat yet? Oh, not yet, but they're getting there. Good morning, Patricia. Good to see you. I'm glad you can make it. Ugly Truckling. It is T's T. Good morning, Wendy. Good morning. Good morning. Have the French declared NATO Article 5 and sounded retreat yet? No, that would mean that they would have to go on full out attack. Now there was another story that I read yesterday, and I'm gonna have to dig into it and see if I can find it, because it was in Germany from what I remember. Give me just a second. I think I may have that one. Let me see. And no. Let's see if I've got the one from yesterday. I know it's in here because it was like, oh, this sounds familiar. Yeah, there it is. And I saw this the other day. I said something about this the other day. Watch out for your aircraft and what's going on there. So imagine 270 flights canceled in Frankfurt as environmental activists target airports across Europe. Didn't I say something about this just a couple weeks ago? Watch out what's going on with your airlines. Something's going on. French army tanks have really large rearview mirrors so they can see the battle while they retreat. That's bad. That's really bad. You guys are really mean to the French. Frankfurt, Germany. A total of 270 flights were canceled at Germany's busiest airport Thursday. Imagine that, Thursday. Today's Friday. This happened yesterday. And now we're just, let's see, they finally said something about it at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody reports on this stuff. An effort to disrupt air travel across Europe at the height of the summer vacation season and the Olympics to highlight the threat posed by climate change. Frankfurt Airport said flights were halted for safety reasons after climate activists breached security fences in the early morning. Its runways were back in operation by the next morning. By Thursday evening, airport operator Fraport said 270 flights had been canceled out of 1,400 scheduled for the day. Wow. Police said 7 people damaged the perimeter fence and entered the airport premises at 5 a.m. So they were only down for about almost 3 hours. Entered the airport premises, then attached themselves to the tarmac in various places. An 8th person attached himself to the fence. All were detained. Environmental groups said they plan to target airports around Europe this summer to remind people about the link between fossil fuels, such as those used by airliners, and climate change. The groups are calling for governments to end the extraction and burning of fossil fuels by 2030. Okay. Climate data shows Monday was the hottest day ever recorded as human-caused climate change continues to drive. There's no such thing, so just get over yourself. Flying is considered to be one of the most carbon-intensive activities. Oh. See, yeah. Oh, that's coming. The big Olympic Games in Paris will be a disaster. Already reporting essay and thefts of visitors. Yeah. Yeah, I saw the one with the young lady that was in shock and having a hard time. That was heartbreaking. On Wednesday, 5 protesters glued themselves to the airport. So they did this on Wednesday. They also did it on Thursday. Climate activists staged or attempted similar actions across Finland, Norway, Switzerland, and Spain. At Helsinki Airport, a handful of protesters blocked the main check-in area for about 30 minutes, but police said the demonstration caused no delays to flights or other disruption. At Oslo's main Gardermoen Airport, I'm probably saying that wrong, 3 activists managed to enter the runway area early Wednesday, waving banners and disrupting air traffic for about half an hour. Police said there were no major flight delays. Police in London said Wednesday that they prevented a planned protest at Heathrow Airport. 7 members of the group, known as Just Stop Oil, were arrested at Heathrow, and 3 others were taken into custody at other locations as part of an intelligence-led operation, the Metro Police Service said in a statement. One of those arrested in London was Sean Callaghan, 29, who described himself as an environmental agitator. And he said, I'm taking Athens airport this summer because it's impossible for me to see a way in which we can inspire and enthuse citizens about the future of our planet. You're a sick man. Last week, German cabinet member approved legislation that would impose tougher penalties on people who break through airport perimeters. The bill, which requires approval by lawmakers, foresees punishment ranging up to a 2-year prison sentence for people who intentionally intrude on airside areas of airports such as taxis or runways, endanger civil aviation, or enable someone else to. Currently, such intrusions only draw a fine. So these tougher penalties are going to be... What are they calling for? A sentence of up to 5 years would be possible in cases where some forces their way into an airport with banned objects such as a weapon, some knives, or poisonous substances, if the intrusion is intended to enable or cover up another offense. Yeah. So anyone who intrudes on airport premises, glues themselves to runway, and massively obstructs air traffic by doing so isn't just risking their own life. Such incidents are also dangerous for many people who aren't involved. For instance, when there are medical emergencies. She also pointed to disruption to tens of thousands of travelers and the resulting economic fallout. Well, that is the point. That is what they're looking to do, put the people in jail. Yes, Patricia. Educate them? Well, it isn't going to do any good to educate them. Trust me. She also pointed to disruption to tens of thousands of travelers as a result of economic fallout. Fassier said repeated incidents in recent times made it necessary to impose tougher punishment, and added that airport operators must also do more to protect their premises. I'm thinking electrified fences. Another thing that they can do is if someone does something so stupid as glue themselves to the tarmac, I'm thinking you just get out there with a machete and remove the hand from the arm and say, well, we would drive you to the hospital, but because of climate change, here's a Band-Aid and start walking. It's about 50 miles that way. That's what I would suggest doing. Pretty soon they run out of hands and they can't, glue themselves anymore. I'm being satirical. Don't do damage to people. Let them go live with the Amish. Oh, that would be too much for them, because how are they going to be able to set up their little cameras to record themselves whenever they're sitting there protesting? The phones that are made in China by slaves while they're wearing tennis shoes that, might have been made in foreign countries, clothes that are vegan friendly, recycled plastic or something like that. So how did they get there? On bicycles? No, they use mass transportation, the same transportation that they would use. They're full of hypocrisy. That's the scam of it. It's all hypocrisy. They can't help it. Did you see that El Mayo and El Chapo's got arrested? I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check that out. There's a flaming hot Cheetos lawsuit. Well, because if I'm not mistaken, flaming hot Cheetos was made by an employee for that made Cheetos. So he took some of the Cheetos that hadn't had any of the cheese sauce put on them, and he started making his own mixture, and then he gave that to Cheetos, I think Frito Lay, and they moved him up in the world. Like he went from being like lower on the totem pole to being up higher. So what is this? Spicy dispute over the origins of Flamin' Hot Cheetos winds up in court. Court case could soon settle a spicy dispute. Who invented Flamin' Hot Cheetos? A former PepsiCo executive is suing the company, saying it destroyed his career after questioning his claim that he invented the popular flavor of the Cheetos snack. Said Thursday it has no comment on a lawsuit, which was filed on July 18th in California Superior Court. According to the lawsuit, Richard Montañez began working in PepsiCo as a janitor in its Frito-Lay plant in Ranch Cucamonga, California in 1977. Montañez was the son of a Mexican immigrant who grew up in a migrant labor camp. So his father was illegal. So his papa was illegal. El Chapo's son. Yeah, El Chapo's son was former Secret Service director's fault. He wasn't guarding the Cheetos either. Always email yourself an invention idea so you have a timestamp of when you invented it. Exactly. So he was as a janitor in his Frito-Lay branch. So his father was an illegal alien that was, or it's a possibility his father was a migrant which traveled to the U.S. and then migrated back home whenever he was done working. One day, a machine in this plant broke down, leaving a batch of unflavored Cheetos. He took a batch home, dusted them with chili powder, tried to replicate the flavor of elote, the popular grilled seasoning corn served in Mexico. Asked for a meeting with the engineer. Enrico granted the meeting, liked the presentation, directed the company to develop spicy Cheetos, according to the lawsuit. Montañez said PepsiCo sent him on speaking engagement and actively promoted his story, but in the meantime, he claims the company's research and development department shut him out of its discussions and testing. It introduced Flamin' Hot Cheetos in 1992. Montañez said he continued to develop spicy snacks like Flamin' Hot Popcorn, Lime, Chili Fritos, and in 2000 he was promoted to a business development manager in Southern California. Montañez said demand for speaking engagement was so great that he retired from PepsiCo in 2019 to become a motivational speaker full-time. He published memoir. But according to the lawsuit, PepsiCo turned on Montañez in 2021, cooperating with the Los Angeles Times piece that claimed others in the company were already working on spicy snacks whenever he approached them, and they, not Montañez, came up with the name Flamin' Hot. Montañez and PepsiCo's about face has hurt his speaking career and other potential opportunities, including a documentary about his life. He is seeking damages for discrimination, fraud, and defamation. Well, hey, Nick, what is going on, sir? Good afternoon for you. How are you? What do you have going on today? You know what? I should have Nick on. I haven't talked to Nick in forever. Let me see. How do I find Nick here? It'd be that Twitter thing, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to reach out. Yeah, let me see. One of these places I'll find it. Let me see. I haven't talked to Nick in forever. If he wants to, he can stop by for a couple minutes. Let us know what's going on with him. Let me see. Maybe he can shed a little bit of light on this. These Paris Olympics where people are getting in all kinds of trouble. Yeah, it's crazy stuff in his country is his country is, I'm sure, got some people there going back and forth. It's on the BBC News. Dang, I have to go to Indiana to see you guys again. Have a great weekend. You have a great weekend too, Patricia. Still at office, maybe an hour or so. I should be on. Yeah. Come by whenever you get done, or if you feel so inclined. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time there, Nick. I'm usually pretty easy on the mornings. Usually pretty easy on the mornings. It's this is so bad. Where is the? Because I had something that I was going to show you guys if I could. Yeah, I might show that a little bit later. Might show it a little bit later. Oh, that's right. You know what? I usually will do this on in the mornings because I always forget. There we go. Got that one. Yeah, in the mornings I'm usually a little bit better. But I've been I've been slacking today, so it happens. I can't help it. My morning was a little odd. A little odd this morning. I had I got those things out last night. My wife, whenever I went to sleep last night, she was awake. She said that she was having a hard time falling asleep. So I took care of that really quick. No, I didn't give her any pudding pops. So stop thinking about that. Stop thinking about that. What the heck was he doing in El Paso? Why cross the? I'll find it here in a second. And let me see. Let's see. El Mayo. Let's see if we got anything. Here we go. Open this new tab because I'm sure you guys are interested about this. I am positive you guys would be interested with this. There we go. Share this tab instead, and there you go. You rang? Yeah, come on by if you want to. So, U.S. arrests 2 leaders of Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, El Mayo Zambada and son of El Chapo. Ismael El Mayo Zambada, longtime leader of Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, and Joaquin Guzman Lopez, a son of another infamous cartel leader, were arrested by U.S. authorities on Thursday, the U.S. Department said. A leader of the powerful Sinaloa cartel for decades along Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Zambada is one of the most notorious drug traffickers in the world and known for running cartel smuggling operations while keeping a lower profile. A Mexican federal official told AP that Zambada, Guzman, Lopez arrived at the United States on a private plane and turned themselves into authorities. The official spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to discuss the matter. The U.S. government had offered a reward of up to $15 million for information leading to the capture of Zambada, who eluded authorities for decades. So does that mean he gets the $15 million for turning himself in? Good morning, Volstorm. Yes, you have an invite. You should. I think I hit one in there. Because, you got pudding pops. The U.S. government offered, so Zambada and Guzman Lopez oversaw the trafficking of tens of thousands of pounds of drugs to the United States along with related violence. Drugs and violence. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Rice said, adding that now they will face the justice of the United States. Fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat in our country's ever faced, and the Justice Department will not rest until every single cartel leader, member, and associate responsible for poisoning our communities is held accountable. You lost the war on drugs a long time ago. That's been long gone. Don't be fooled. New York conspiracy to manufacture, distribute the synthetic opioid. Prosecutors said he was continuing to lead the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most violent and powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. Zambada, one of the longest surviving capos in Mexico, is considered the cartel's strategist, more involved in day-to-day operations than his flashier and better-known boss El Chapo, who was sentenced to life in prison in the U.S. in 2019 and is the father of Guzman Lopez. Zambada is the old-fashioned capo in an era of younger kingpins known for the flamboyant lifestyles of club hopping and brutal tactics of beheading, dismembering, and even... Oh, that's horrible. While Zambada has fought those who challenged him, he is known for concentrating on the business side of dealing drugs and avoiding gruesome cartel violence that would draw attention. In 2010 interview with the Mexican magazine Proceso, he acknowledged that he lived in constant fear of going to prison and would contemplate self-deletion rather than being captured. I'm terrified of being incarcerated. I'd like to think that, yes, I would kill myself. The interview was surprising for Kingpin, showing for keeping his head down, but he gave strict instructions on where and when the encounter would take place, and the article gave no hint of his whereabouts. Zapata reputedly won the loyalty of locals in his home state of Sinaloa and neighboring Durango through his largeness. Wow, that's good for the ladies, I guess. Hey, Dave Nelson, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Stephen Fenner. Love when they say, because they are not authorized to discuss, yet the fact that they're leaking it typically means they were told to leak it. Yes, that's exactly what it means. But in the 90s, he was a major player of the Juarez cartel, transporting tons of cocaine and the marijuana, the Mary Janes. Zapata started gaining the trust of Colombian traffickers, blah, blah. I don't need a history lesson of these people. I just want to know how they were arrested. So the Chapitos that had been identified as main exporter of fentanyl to the U.S. market, they were seen as more violent and flamboyant than Zapata. Ovidio Guzman Lopez was arrested and extradited to the U.S. last year. He pleaded out guilty to drug trafficking charges in Chicago in September. Mike Vigil, former head of international operations for the DEA, said Zapata's arrest is important but unlikely to have much impact on the flow of drugs to the U.S. Joaquin Guzman Lopez was the least influential of the four sons who made up the Chapitos. It's a great blow for the rule of law, but it's going to have what impact it's going to have on the cartel? I don't think so. It's not going to have a dent on the drug trade because someone from the cartel is going to replace him. Exactly. That's why I said it is a hydra that you're never going to get rid of. Not saying you should join in, but if we're talking about drugs, then we might as well, talk about this right here. Because no one wants to say Camel Toe Harris. So Camel Toe Harris tries to thread the needle on Gaza after meeting with Netanyahu. This is crazy right here. Because if you didn't see her press release that she tried to pawn off on people, oh my, are you in for a treat? This is going to be I don't know, it's 6 minutes of absolute cringe. It is 6 minutes of absolute cringe, and I am going to bring it to you. I really am. Because once I saw it, I was like, I can't believe she just said what she said. That was like the most ridiculous ever. And I'm here to show you how this is how she played it. This is how she ignored and was so blind to it. It was someone in Sinaloa that set Mayo up. Yeah. You can't control climate, but you can manage it. No, you can't. I'll disagree with that, ugly truckling. No, you can't. Not with these people. No. There's no controlling it. For every one step you make forward, you're making 2 steps backwards. Because they will constantly shift. I mean, they've been doing this longer than most people have been trying to go after him. Yeah, eventually you're going to get like the big guy. You're going to get the big win, but tell me how much it's whenever they got El Chapo. How much did that stop the drug trafficking? Did it? Even after he was deleted? No, it just made them more wary and do things a little bit differently. Not saying you should take the pressure off, but yeah, it's never going away. It's been, drugs have been brought into the United States long before. There was a major opiate crisis back in the 1700s, some crap like that. There's a reason why those seeds are made of poppy and make you sleep in The Wizard of Oz. Just saying. There's a little bit of something there. A little bit of something there. There might be a little bit of something to do with that. But this is going to be Harris's little speech, and listen to the tone deafness of what she has to say, because this is tone deaf whenever you break it down. Here we go. This is only about a 6-minute video.
So I just had a frank and constructive meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. I told him that I will always ensure that Israel is able to defend itself, including from Iran and Iran-backed militias such as Hamas and Hezbollah.
But what she condemns is any slapback. That's what she's condemning. Like any slapback, and she's going, but you can't be doing that. Because she's going to bring up, oh, but there's war-torn and displaced people in Gaza. That she did not have a very constructive conversation with Netanyahu. Just saying. She did not have a constructive conversation with him. She's saying this right here. Ooh. Just check Fort Bliss, current function, and, yep, responsibility to disrupt transitional criminal organizations. I put money on it. U.S. Army team snatched him from Mexico. Not caught him in El Paso. It's a possibility. That is a big possibility.
From when I was a young girl, collecting funds to plant trees for Israel, to...
Wait, you as a young girl were collecting funds to plant trees for Israel. I don't buy this for a second. So this is going to be her new narrative that she was collecting funds to buy trees for Israel, just like she marched in civil rights, with her parents in a stroller, like she was all into what was the rapper that she was into, where she couldn't have been at the time that she was there because they weren't even performing, or they were non-existent. I was totally into whoever it was. Yeah, she's lying. She never did this. It's trying to boost her up. I think it was Snoop. Or how she, brags about, keeping criminals in jail. Don't trust a word coming out of her mouth at all.
To my time in the United States Senate and now at the White House, I have had an unwavering commitment to the existence of the state.
Yeah, Tupac. That's what it was. It wasn't Snoop. It was Tupac. She was like, oh, yeah, I was totally into Tupac. And, yeah, I listened to Tupac while I was in college. And they were just like, yeah, whenever you were in college, Tupac wasn't a thing. Freedom.
State of Israel, to its security, and to the people of Israel. I've said it many times, but it bears repeating. Israel has a right to defend itself. And how it does so matters.
There's the gist. There is the slap in the face to Israel. That's the slap in the face to Israel. You will only defend yourselves how we tell you can defend yourself. That's what she just said. That's what she just told Israel. You can only defend yourself how we tell you can defend yourself. If you give any clap back, well, then you're on the wrong. She's so cringe. You guys have her a gift from California. Oh, thank you very much.
Hamas is a brutal terrorist organization. On October 7, Hamas triggered this war when it massacred 1,200 innocent people, including 44 Americans. Hamas has committed horrific acts of sexual violence and took 250 hostages. There are American citizens who remain captive in Gaza. Sagi Deko Hen, Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, Idan Alexander, Keith Siegel, Omer Nutra, and the remains of American citizens Judy Weinstein, Gad Haggai, and Itai Hen.
And she had to look at those names because she couldn't remember them. Because they're not. This was given to her by the same people that give that information to Biden. She's come out here to do this to look more presidential. And you'll notice where they keep the camera at for the White House. They keep that camera where you can't see underneath it where it says Vice President of the United States. Yeah, they've got it set up so she looks like she's presidential. This right here is a campaign without campaigning. This is how they campaign her to look more presidential by coming out, and you'll see more of this over the rest of the year. This is her campaign. This puts her in a position where she doesn't have to debate because people are automatically thinking, oh, well, she's already acting president already. And look at how presidential she looks. And these are the talking points you're going to hear because it's a sham. This is low-hanging fruit, and she does not have love for Israel. She does, as much as she talks about what she was doing as a child for Israel, she has no love for Israel at all. This is all lip service, and you can tell by the words that she's saying, the crap that's coming out of her mouth.
Are still being held in Gaza. I have met with the families of these American hostages multiple times now.
Sure.
And I've told them each time they are not alone, and I stand with them.
Hey, Bush.
And President Biden and I are working every day to bring them home. I also expressed with the Prime Minister my serious concern about the scale of human suffering in Gaza, including the death of far too many innocent civilians.
Civilians. Well, what about the innocent civilians that are dying in your home state of California? You didn't give two craps about them. Oh, we're going to get into some stuff in California here too. Oh, do I have some stuff for you? This is it's about to get wild and crazy. This election is about to turn on its head over the weekend. I'm telling you right now. You may not know it, but it is about to turn on its head really soon. Yeah, Biden
and I
doesn't
made
work.
clear my serious concern about the dire humanitarian situation there, with over 2 million people facing high levels of food insecurity.
And what did Netanyahu say? What did he say? He said, we've been sending food over there, but it cannot get to the people because of Hamas keeps capturing all of that. We have done everything that we can to send aid to these people and keep them from being displaced, but it is Hamas that's causing this. And the United States is not helping matters out at all. They've been very disruptive in helping keep this even worse.
And 500,000 people facing catastrophic levels of acute food insecurity. What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. The images of dead children and desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety, sometimes displaced.
Well, we've also seen that some of those are psyops where they paint kids up to make it look like they've been injured, damaged, take pictures, send that back. Look at what they did to this place, and no, nothing happened there. Plant trees thing in the early 90s was a scam. Almost all money went to administrative costs. Yeah. But see but she did this as a young child. So we can look up when did plant trees for Israel. I'm going to spell Israel wrong. Oh wow. Plant trees for Israel start. Since 1901, 250 million trees have been planted, creating and building over 240 reservoirs and dams. No, the Jewish National Fund. It started in 1908 and has planted over 200. That was the National Jewish Fund that started that. And when was it done? From barren lands to afforestation, managing Israel forest. Well, that's in Israel. So that's in Israel. Start in the U.S. Let's see. It's been planting trees for Israel. That's restoration in Israel. Plant a tree for Israel. Plant trees for Israel fund. Plant trees for Israel start in the U.S. Trees from Israel. I'm not seeing anything that they were. So she's been to Israel? I'm just curious if she's been to Israel because that's where they're planting the trees. Yeah, those. What is she talking about? That's a lie. Everything she said is just an absolute lie. I'm very confused here because the trees we planted were for Arbor Day Foundation. Okay, I can understand that, but she's saying she did plant trees for Israel, but that's not in the U.S. That's in Israel, and it's to help soil erosion, to help cut back on soil erosion. That's what the trees were planted for. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It was started well into the 1900s, and it was started by the National Jewish National Fund. Now, I'll show you what I'm talking about, and you can do it from. And basically, a circle of 5 trees will be planted in Israel. Meaningful, select 1 to 4 trees and receive a certificate. Oh, this is a scam. This is a total scam. This is like buying a little piece of yeah, this is a scam. Huh. Wow. When you shall come to the land, you shall plant trees. Sir, what? This is ridiculous. So you can select 1 to 4 trees, you receive a certificate. Select 5 or more trees, and you get a bigger certificate. 100 trees, you get a book of garden and framing. J&F certificates now be framed with 100% eco-friendly world wood composite frame with rich Brazilian walnut finish. Trees are planted in Israel where they are most needed and in areas that are most conducive to their growth based on environmental research and geographical need. Currently, areas of great focus are in 2 locations, the Caramel Forest and Negev Desert. A variety of tree species indigenous to the Middle East, such as native oaks, carob, redbud, almond, pear, hawthorn, cypress, and the exotic Atlantic cedar are planted. So they're not even planted in the U.S. She's full of trash. Yeah. Oh yeah. Starving children of Africa. I bet she did that too. She fed starving children in Africa. This woman is a liar. That there is no plant trees for Israel in the United States. That for $30 you can own a piece of Scotland, become a lord or a loss. A lard. That's Yeah, exactly. Those are such a scam. You know how many YouTubers used to peddle that stuff? Oh, yeah, they were receiving all kinds of money to do that. I do remember Sam Kinnison's joke about starving. Ooh, yeah, I mean,
for the second, third, or fourth time.
well, and these people that they're talking about being displaced, now everything that she says, it makes me wonder and not believe a single damn thing that they're saying. You're saying they've been displaced, but you just said you planted trees for Israel. Where? In Oakland, California? I'm looking this. I want to try it. Trees for Israel. Trees for Israel in Oakland. Okay, they've got memory trees. You can donate. It says the Jewish National Fund allows people to purchase trees to be planted in Israel. That's all that keeps showing up. Trees for Oakland. Now they do have a trees for Oakland, where she's originally from. So trees for Oakland. What is this? It's by Oakland's Park and Recreation, or OPRF. Trees for Oakland. How long has Trees for Oakland been planting trees? Let's see. Trees for Paste. Trees for Oakland. When did it start? Trees for Oakland. In 2015, Trees for Oakland start. So I'm having a hard time understanding how she was planting things then. Oakland's urban forest is presently dominated by blue gum, or eucalyptus, Monterey pine, and coast live oak. But they didn't start until 2015. So I'm trying to say, as a young girl, how was she planting trees for Israel? I mean, if her family was donating to it, I could see that. But she's full of crap.
We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
So she's saying right here, what she just said is she's chastising Israel for this war continuing. Her administration is creating a plan to get a ceasefire signed. What did Netanyahu say? He said, we are not going to stop until they have been weeded out. Enough is enough. They give warning to the locals to make sure that they're out of range of that, and they've done everything they can to limit casualties. But that has not been happening. They can only do so much. Good morning, Tom Gillis, Golf Instruction. Good morning, bro. What's up? Yeah, so Camel Toe Harris has been planting trees for Israel in Oakland whenever she was a young girl, but none of that is true. That's what's going on. Broettes.
Thanks to the leadership of our President, Joe Biden, there is a deal on the table for a ceasefire and a hostage deal. And it is important that we recall what the deal involves.
Lie, scam. Why don't you talk about what the deal is? Oh, because if you did, you would see that it's a crappy deal. Just like they have this trope saying, oh, we were doing so much to get a deal passed in the Senate, and it was a bipartisan agreement for, to stop this stem of illegals coming across. No, it was a scam. It was to send a lot of money to Ukraine, a little bit to Israel, and a little bit to the southern border. It was better than 30% of that was going to be spent on Israel and Mexico combined. The rest of it was going to go to Ukraine. As soon as that was not allowed, they came back and they changed everything. Yeah. The failed security at the border, that's on her. No matter which way they try to spin it, this is all on her. Just like the failure of Biden administration in trying to broker some deal with Israel. Yeah, they're not doing crap for them. Because there's
The first phase of the deal would bring about a full ceasefire,
including
including a withdrawal of the Israeli military from population centers in Gaza.
See, there you go. They're dictating how Israel is supposed to react. They are not going to get very far with Netanyahu.
Second phase, the Israeli military would withdraw from Gaza entirely, and it would lead to a permanent end to the hostilities. It is time for this war to end, and end in a way where Israel is secure, all the hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can exercise their right to freedom, dignity, and self-determination.
It is not Israel that's causing this problem. Israel said what its goals were. They made it very clear what its goals were. And everything that she just said is a complete slap in the face to Israel. Everything that she said is a complete slap in the face. Now you understand why she didn't show up in Congress whenever Netanyahu was speaking. This is why she didn't show up, because she does not agree with Israel at all. And this is the person that Democrats are voting for, that they're pushing to get in there. Yeah. Washington Post, circa 2021, camel toe Harris's are brand new border czar. All of them like yesterday. She was never in charge of the border. Exactly. When speaking about being in charge of borders, we have... How you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Good to
been
see you.
Yeah,
I was at my office. I wrote good afternoon, and then I saw you sent the link, and I thought that, you know what? Fuck office. I'm going to speak to Chizzy.
Yeah, just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. It's a chill morning.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm looking through the news, and there is so much garbage that's happening in the news that, like, okay, let me put this as an example. So you have Camel Toe here that is trying to look all presidential, okay. In the meantime, you've got El Chapo was arrested, which is all right. That's a worthwhile story. She tries to thread the needle on Gaza after meeting with Netanyahu. They're trying to promote her as being some sort of guardian of Israel, which she doesn't care. She gets backed by Barack and Big Mike. Netanyahu is going to meet with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. She says she's ready to debate Trump. That's what Harris is saying, but he's backpedaling off a September 10th face-off, which was supposed to be with Biden and not with her.
Yeah, I mean, she's still not the actual nominee, even though she acts like it.
Well, and Trump wasn't the nominee either, although he pretty much dominated all the way across. Okay, then you also have Ukraine's foreign minister seeking common ground with China. You have China and Russia start joint naval drills days after NATO allies called Beijing a Ukraine war enabler. You've got the U.S. Coast Guard spotting Chinese naval ships off of an Alaska island, but Then you've got an agreement with Russia. It's a deal with the devil. Advisor UK president says, I don't trust them. You
can always trust a Russian being deceitful, because if you walk into a negotiation with Russians, you have to know they will test you to your limit every time. You have to show power.
Yes, that's what Biden could never do.
If you don't show power, you already lost.
Yes, and that was what was happening with Biden. He just couldn't show any power. That's all whatsoever. But here's how you know that you've got some craziness going on, because you have this is going to be the big push to get Newsom as vice president. Okay,
who?
Gavin Newsom out of California, because this right here is what they're pushing. Newsom orders California state agencies to start clearing out homeless encampments. And their excuse was, the law wouldn't allow us to move people out of these homeless encampments because of laws, and they want us to fight, homeless by blah, 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 blah. It's all lip service. Because if
they created this problem with homelessness.
Yes.
And then they are whining like children about, we have so many homeless people, what can we do? Well, how about you take a good look at the past 10 years of local legislation and see, where did we F up?
Oh, it's longer than that. It's been longer than 10 years. It's been well in 20, 30, hell, over 30 years that they've made bad legislation. And it's just cyclical, because eventually what they'll do is they will kick these people out, or whatever. And they'll just basically move locations, and then they come back. You're not gonna end this. And here's a suggestion for all the people that are leaving California: just move them into those apartments. I mean, because you've got millions of people leaving California every day because of their failed policies, but now you have all this free space. You can just put them there. Oh, that's right. They don't pay their bills because they're homeless.
Uh, an acquaintance of mine, back in when Sweden had this big movement of refugees. Let's just say it that way. He bought an old school building in the middle of nowhere, restored it somewhat. He had room for about 200 people. And our migration authority government body paid him a lot. I mean, this was more or less what you call it, a bachelor motel type of thing. A room, bathroom, a room, bathroom, a
Yep.
room, bathroom. All, and in with two people, a kid in one of these. And I mean, he made back. And,
Oh yeah.
and I told now I can't do that because it's too,
Yeah.
But as he said, I will have bad conscience for about 5 years. Then I will have the rest of my life financially independent. And
Yes.
then he sold it once the migration flood calmed down. And
Well,
then he sold it.
and so we've got a bad illegal immigration problem in on our southern borders. Now there's a company out of our southern borders that owns that and runs the facilities that are being shut down. Okay, so those facilities that are being shut down because, let's see, they've had essay on children. Some people have been arrested. They're getting like completely shut down. Now, if you look and find out what companies these companies also are big in the prison business. Okay, they are the ones that receive government contracts to build prisons. Okay, so whenever I heard about this a couple weeks ago, I think even Mo covered this story about this one particular place where they're actually shutting it down. Now there's another one, and I'm trying to remember where it's at, but they're shutting down the facility at the beginning of the year. Okay, because I think it may be the one in Eagles Pass that they're shutting down, or somewhere in that area. It might be Brownsville. I think it might be Brownsville, Texas. They're shutting one down because of funding. So whenever I saw that, I was like, well, what company is this? And it's actually a stock exchange company that is getting rid of all of these facilities along the southern border for lack of funds. Like the government ended their contracts. And then guess what shows up this morning? Biden signs bill strengthening oversight of crisis-plagued U.S. Bureau of Prisons after AP reporting. So they're going to start funding these prisons again, the prisons that are throwing you in prison. Some of those are pretty big in California. In California, you had Camel Toe Harris that was in charge of prosecuting people. She set on. There was a guy that was supposed to be released because he was on death row to be executed, that was found innocent.
Yeah, Mr. Williams.
And she was on there and made sure, until the U.S. court system stepped in and said, you need to release this man. She would not release non-violent offenders which Biden started pushing for this nonviolent offender crap towards the end, because they needed free labor in California to put out forest fires and to
Yeah,
clean their roads and clean up things.
yeah, I heard of that. Not as bad as the Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Uh, in short, you have that woman who has been 43 years imprisoned for something she didn't commit. She was in the Missouri Supreme Court said she is factually innocent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he called the prison and told them, do not let her out. This Attorney General. So the Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court said, well, if she is not out by the end of a business today, I will see you on Monday, to the Attorney General. And it will be scheduled as a contempt of court. She was out 2 hours later.
Yep.
That's one. There's another one, a guy whose name I don't remember, 30 years. Again, same Andrew Bailey, refused, same story. And now you have this Marcellus Williams on death row, factually innocent. He's still scheduled, I believe it is early October, to be executed. And he's factually innocent because the Missouri Attorney General says, no, we oppose this.
It is in, I don't know. See, I have to read all of this crap, like every,
I sent you a more positive story.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's bring this up for people to see. It is, archaeologists found someone they never expected in an ancient Chinese tomb. A blonde man.
They found a Viking in China.
The Tang Dynasty tomb decorated with colorful murals and providing new glimpse into life. Oh yeah, I can embiggen it. In a second. Well, I'll just bring it up here. Here we go. The 8th century features murals for figures under the tree style. Multiple scenes depicted throughout the tomb show daily life during the Tang Dynasty. We'll just get down to it. Longzhen, Ancient City Research Institute of Cultural Relics Protection, says according to a translation from the State Law News, the tomb has a pairs of figures painted on both sides of the tomb, and that paintings of people continue throughout the tomb. Everything from women pushing stones to grind flour to men making pasta, women using oranges to fetch water, and men stepping on hammers to help pound rice. They believe it was owned by a man in 736 AD at the age of 63 during the middle of the Tang Dynasty. 8 scenes painted on the tomb are figures under the tree style, trendy at the time. Victor Zong, a professor of Western history who wasn't involved in the discovery. Westerner painted in the tomb, leading camels likely represented from some of Central Asia. Based on those, the Sogdian people lived what is now modern-day Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, and were active along Silk Road trading routes. But yeah, you got the little blonde man right there. The murals coat an entire tomb, save the floor. Zen believes the style coincides. I'm looking to get to the meat of it. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, here's the thing. Because many people think, but the Viking Age was only in England. They invaded and they got kicked out 300 years later. No. My ancestry, the Swedish Vikings, went east. They found writings in the Burj Khalifa in Turkey. Where it said it was runes, and they took up until the early 2000s to decipher them. And it said Halfdan was here.
Wow.
Yeah, and those are from around the 8th century.
Okay.
We know that they got there and they probably went further east.
Well, and there's been a lot of speculation that before our planet, our what do you call it, continents broke apart from each other.
Continental shift.
Yeah, the continental shift that's where a
No,
lot of
yeah, sorry, not Burj Khalifa. The thing in Turkey. What's the
yeah
name of it?
yeah. The Vikings explored over half the long known world before Spain and Britain did, 8th century. Oh, I think even long before that there was, and you can sort of see some of the same resemblance to American
Istanbul.
Indians.
What's
American Indians having a lot of the same features as Asian. That there's always that possibility that
the Hagia Sophia?
that
Yeah.
people were here, because how did those folks get here? Was it just that you had these people over one little area that were there, another little area were there? You had these people in various parts without any sort of boat travel. They'd just been there so long that something might have been lost or forgotten.
Yeah, I've spoken lots about it with Kaiser Pineapple when we talk about the last time we had the big ice sheets, and all of a sudden the big ice sheets was gone in a matter of years.
Yeah.
Which may or may not have been a smaller meteorite or meteor plunging down, and all of a sudden Earth heated up again.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Yeah, Kilroy was here. That's usually it right
Yeah,
there.
so Halfdan in the Hagia Sophia. Let's see if I can find those runes.
Yeah, and then I've also seen all those fake pictures where they say, "Oh, giants must have been here. Look at the size of these swords," and you're just like, "Yeah, that's Photoshop, dude. Look at the size of these skulls, these human skulls. Yeah, that's Photoshop." But I can tell that here, with all this election stuff going on, that all of the news stories are going to come out about all the wonderful things that Harris did. Like she planted trees for Israel that only are planted in Israel. I didn't know that she went there. She's never been to Europe. Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab some coffee. Everybody gets the coffee song.
Hold on. Let me just put up the share screen.
Okay, we'll
here.
do that. And what do we got here?
These are the inscription, the runes in the Hagia Sophia.
Okay.
Okay, 9th century.
9th century.
Yeah, the Viking inscription. Because Viking tribes were hired by the then Sultan, or whatever it's called, of today's Istanbul, as his own private army.
Holy cow.
And they found coins and everything in Sweden, from Turkey, from North Africa, from further east, from everywhere. So this is in the 9th century. Vikings was already established in Turkey.
I'm going to go grab some coffee, talk with these folks here for a bit. All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So the old Vikings were already established in the 9th century, and they were travelers. Why would they stop at Istanbul? They wouldn't. They were all about, let's explore, let's find stuff, let's bring home women. Where was the other half of Dan? No, Halfdan, it's hard to explain, but his father was probably Dan. So his son, Halfdan. Something of that sort. Vikings aren't gay. Let's just say, let's make people pissed off. Do you know the difference between British women and Scandinavian women? Well, my ancestors didn't bring back the ugly ones. And let's see, the Vikings went to Iceland, Greenland, North America, well, at least the northernmost part of North America. They went southern parts of, Gibraltar. They went to North Africa. They went to Turkey. Now, so more or less the entirety of the northern hemisphere, you found Vikings or remnants of Vikings. And probably they didn't stop at Istanbul. They went further east because the Silk Road, the trade, everything. So yeah, I believe they went further east. So it's not impossible, at least theoretical, that what they found in that grave can be someone from Kazakhstan, Tajikistan area. But they can also be people who went there and beyond. And I think that is so amazing. The more we learn, the more I learn about my ancestry and how far they actually went. Now, they have found rune stones in Scandinavia that we know is from the 8th, 7th century, 6th century. But then you have found rune stones that are hard to determine the age of. So the first Vikings, or the people who then became Vikings, are probably thousands and thousands of years old. So my ancestry may even predate Christianity.
Oh,
Which,
yeah. Yeah.
Let's just say, just for the fun of it, because they claim Jesus could never have been a blonde. Well, he might have been a Viking. He just went to Israel. Hey, this looks like a good place.
Oh. Well, that's the problem is nobody really knows, because it's not like they talked about these things. They didn't talk about what someone looked like. There was unless it was something that was very descriptive. So
Anybody spoiling Deadpool Wolverine? Go no. No. Don't do it. I haven't seen it yet.
My family tree is actually a rotting stump with weeds shooting out of it. That's right. Oh, they're somewhat rare. Next star, a Viking who didn't fight back, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
it's got
was
you there.
about to say something. To reiterate something that was said earlier by Brandon.
Is Brandon in here? Oh, he's hilarious.
He said something.
We did our own breeding experiment in the U.S., but we don't talk about that. That's very true. That is absolutely right. We don't talk about those. It's crazy. So what have you got going on this week or this weekend?
Sorry.
What do you have going on this weekend?
Oh, well. Let's see here. Well, I have this panel show about the Young Thug thing at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because today is the final day of the state's replies to the defense motions. And I've seen a few of the motions, or a few of the replies from the state, and oh my God, it is garbage.
So, who's the judge on this now?
Judge Whitaker, and she is she's been a judge for quite some time, and she was on the short list of the next judge for the Georgia Supreme Court.
Yeah,
And she's a
pretty good.
no nonsense.
Yeah.
No nonsense.
Well, it was funny the day that you were talking, because you remember they assigned another judge, and almost immediately they were just like, yeah, I can't be there because my bailiff has been having sexual relationships with.
Yeah.
So we can't really do that. But that's it's funny because you were streaming about the new person, and it was all, and my wife comes and shows me, she was just like, look who the new judge is going to be for this. And I was just like, oh, they've already removed that judge. And and literally I was going to send you a message on your stream, and it was you were off of there, and I was like, not even 5 minutes later,
Yeah,
you probably found out. Because you were
That
doing
was-
a little bit of a dive on this judge, and you're just like, yeah, this is a new judge, and next thing you know, it's like, nope, they're not.
yeah, I mean, this past month in the Young Thug trial, there's something new, something ridiculous, almost on a daily basis. But now Judge Whittaker seems to be the judge that should have been assigned this trial from the start.
Yep.
And the prosecution, the demeanor of the prosecution. She doesn't, Prosecutor Love doesn't interrupt, doesn't speak over. But yeah, her demeanor changed, did a complete 180.
Oh yeah.
And it was so fun to see, because I think Prosecutor Love is scared of Judge Whittaker, because she can't control her,
Yeah.
as she did with the Judge Glanville.
Exactly. Well, and also there's certain judges that, like my wife will say, oh yeah, you're if I'm in front of this judge, like I know that my case is going to, even if I lose, I know that the judge knows enough about this that like because my wife does dirt law, she has judges in the in Fulton County that she sees that are Superior Court judges, which hear like criminal cases, and so they don't know anything about dirt law, and so they'll ask her questions of, well, what does this mean, and how does that work out, and how does that relate to it, and she can let them know. She says it's
What's dirt law?
real estate, like
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Lucrative, but I do labor law. I have
Right.
I have up to my eyeballs with contracts and everything.
Yeah. Well, and with her, it's with her stuff, it's most of it's uncontested anyway. But for the judge to rule on it, they usually have to understand. She says there's judges that are just like, yeah, I have no idea what you just said. Like they're not even paying any attention. One of her favorites is like McBurney, because he'll say, listen, I handle criminal cases. This makes not a whole lot of sense to me. So break it down for me and make it simple so I can understand it. Like, I'm a layman when it comes to this. He doesn't make any qualms about it. And he's one of the easier judges to deal with. And she's so some of this stuff could easily be, a property line dispute or something like that. So it could be anything that deals with property. That's the kind of law that she practices. So it's I don't know about it being lucrative, but it does keep you busy, because people are always buying and selling homes and arguing over property rights and crap like that. So it's a never-ending flow of work. Never ending.
Yeah. Does that plot of land belong to this part or that part, or does it count as a community land and stuff like that? And
Yeah, I mean, she's had to pull up title work that dates back before the American Revolution, like stuff that was titled and it's done in like it might have been a king, giving that land to somebody, and that's how long that's been either within a family or has been moved around, and it's like you might have a larger section. It might have been a 20-acre plot or, whatever, and then how it's all subdivided. She'll read through all of that, go through all the surveys, make sure all the surveys are correct, and yeah, she's pretty damn good at it. Like whenever she's having to write a description, there'll be times that she'll type the thing out and then she'll go, okay, what I need you to do is read what I just typed, and then she'll put her finger over it and she'll be drawing it out just as making sure that what she said was proper. And if there's any changes, have to make those because your eyes gloss over on it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, that's really good to have somebody read it back to you, because writing something down is not the same as saying it out loud.
Correct.
Because when you say it out loud, because you need a certain rhythm to it, you need all the commas and dots and everything must be in line, because if they aren't,
it changes the meaning.
It changes the meaning, exactly.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part about it. But yeah, so that's why whenever I hear people come in and they start talking about stuff of like real estate stuff, I'm like, well, I know how it is in the state of Georgia, but I don't know if it's the same everywhere, because you have like a certain amount of time you have to spend on service and things like that, and criminal service is going to be different than like the kind of service that we perform. Like doing a barment or doing a quick claim deed versus a warranty deed versus a tax deed. I mean, there's just like so many different aspects to it. And I don't practice law. It's just I see it all day long. So I'm like I've had someone come in and, well, an easement means that somebody else owns it. I was like, no, actually they don't. An easement that's not what an easement is. That's not how it works. You've given them the right to put something on your property. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. One of the things that got me better at when I write my stuff is I started reading poetry, because you need a flow. Yeah, sometimes you use different synonyms, because you can't write down the same word 15 times, even though it should be there 15 times. You find the synonyms that goes along with the flow.
Nice. Damn, I still need to reach out to Gosney. Hasn't gotten back with me. Because we've got we do a Sunday stream where we read stories, and so we want to get Gosney's book and do it, Death Penalty Desires, and I sent it because I want to get it in PDF, but
he's kind of because of the character assassination from the Miami Herald.
Yeah.
So he's keeping his head. He is taking it easy at the moment and try to argue to keep his job. But I'm just going to tell you folks, if that reporter who cannot differentiate between fiction and real life.
Oh, most of them can't. most reporters write nothing but fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through the AP yesterday, and I was like, "Yeah, that's not true. That's verifiably false."
Yeah,
because they were talking about Netanyahu's speech whenever he was speaking in front of Congress. Oh, and he didn't say this, and he said this. It's just like, no, you're taking out of context what he said.
Yeah.
Of his speech, because he was just like, listen, we are the last defense right here against Iran causing problems in the U.S. And this is a reason why we're allies with the United States, whereas Ukraine is not an ally to the United States.
No, Ukraine is a first defense against Russia.
No, it's not. As you can see, it's obviously not.
No, when I say first defense, is that the protection for the European Union. Now, I agree with the sentiment that says this should have been on the European Union and not the
Yes,
United States.
absolutely.
And it's disgraceful what my part of the world
Yes,
just, oh, United States, please come help, please come. How about you use some of these gigantic funds
yes,
and actually manufacture guns and all of this? Yeah, I mean, it's disgraceful. You should not have been
involved in it.
forced to, or not as involved, because what should have happened is that the European Union should have, okay, let's give Ukraine the weapons needed. And then United States could have helped us restock. Not US sending over. And then we sit there and, oh, they send more. Oh, they send more. Now we don't have to. It's
Yeah, it is.
infuriating.
Well, and would Dave say Ukraine is a litmus test? Well, you can go back quite a ways on stuff that happened in Ukraine, and there's parts of Ukraine that wanted to leave and become part of Russia. That was what really sparked this last set of fury off, and it had a lot to do with the Antifa going into the. It's not really Antifa; it's more of the extreme right wing fascists that came over from the little German colonels' ranks that went up against Russia in that nice little southern border town where they wanted to leave. They're like, we already speak Russian, but because they got kicked back there, there was a lot of infighting that went on there, where the prime minister ended up leaving. Was just like, I'm out of here because I'm not going to lose my life over this crap. The Azov, yeah, Azov. They came in there and caused a lot of problems. And then on top of that, they did have a ceasefire deal that was supposed to happen, but I think that war is good money, and whenever they said, okay, we're backing out of Kyiv, they went and counterattacked, and that said Russia was just like, yeah, we're not playing anymore. You know, we've given you, and you're being evil. We're not going to play it.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe a year ago, I was asked about the Azov brigade in the Ukraine, and I might have stunned a few people back then, because I said, for instance, let's say, for the sake of argument, I'm running Ukraine. My ancestors did created the country.
Exactly.
Let's say, okay, you have a brigade with maniacs with guns. Why wouldn't I want to use them, defend this little, well, quite a large town, until last man standing?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, absolutely, but
because you don't have to agree with their ism when you can use them as a weapon, and at the same time, get rid of them.
Well, but see, that is the downfall of it. It's whenever you have the criminals running the nut house, because they're going to do the things that normal human beings wouldn't want to do. They tend to integrate into that, and then they grow. And whenever they grow, they become more and more dangerous. And if you think yes, they're going to. They're the enemy of mine enemy is my friend. No, because they will rear their head and come back and go after you.
Yeah, but the Azov brigade is more or less annihilated.
Yeah,
it's more or less non-existent now. Just because the first 6 months they were tasked to defend that particular town, and then they were trapped in that factory.
Yeah.
So,
there's no good path for this. That Russia has stated multiple times that they do not want Ukraine becoming part of NATO, because that means that NATO is pushing on its border. They don't want that. They don't want to have to deal with NATO basically isolating them. And that's what happens if they come in there. They basically will isolate Russia from the rest of the world, And that is not going to be good for Russia. It's not going to be good for the rest of the world if they do this.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
yeah.
something that Putin has pushed back against really hard. Just like, listen, this shouldn't be happening.
I do think that NATO was never on the table, but being a part of the European Union was. And since the European Union and NATO are so integrated in their common defense, can you call it like that? Well,
Yeah,
because more or less the only countries who aren't NATO countries are surrounded by NATO countries.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I don't have a whole lot of love for NATO at all, but I see the purpose of having a coalition that wants to work together. But also, it has to be balanced out, and it can't be one country that is funding NATO. Same way with the UN, you can't just have one country that's
Well,
spending
you,
almost all of its money plus some to
yeah.
put
United
to
Nations
supply that.
have been a disgrace since they got rid of Dag Hammarskjöld
Yes.
over
Yeah.
Congo in the 1960s.
Yeah.
He was the last uh, actually not leader. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, the general secretary or whatever it's called of the UN. Swedish guy, by the way.
Well, and one of the things that is really frustrating about Ukraine and Russia is that there's a bunch of really crappy people running that country in a very poor way. And part of Burisma, which was, if I'm not, I may have this wrong, the name of the company, that Hunter was in charge of running, which was going from China to Russia to all these other countries, spending tons of money. They were also doing some sex trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, things like that, that the prosecutors wanted to come in and go after the company that Hunter Biden was making millions off of. This is why he's in California for tax evasion, or going to be tried for tax evasion. And that company is the one, this is during Barack Obama's reign, that Joe Biden came over there, and he's even said it live. He said, "Well, I said you're gonna fire that prosecutor, or you're not gonna receive any more money from the U.S." And they had him fired the next day. Yeah, Biden was in charge of that right there. Now, another interesting thing is, you remember that little guy, Sam Bankman-Fried?
Yep.
Okay. So Sam Bankman-Fried was doing deals with Ukraine, and the way that he had it set up is crypto was being transferred out of, or being purchased with money that was being sent from the United States. Okay, so the United States would transfer money into Ukraine. Ukraine, in turn, would purchase Bitcoin. They would buy it in the buttload with American funds. That money, in turn, was being transferred out of that into FTX, which was taking that money and spending millions of dollars doing campaign finance. So they were sending that money to politicians both on the left and right. We're talking about Republicans, Democrats, and funding their campaigns. And then they were buying up as much as they possibly could. Let's see, they even had like they got the naming rights for FTX Stadium in I think it was California, because you can basically buy your brand. It's now a different stadium, but that was money that was being sent from the United States that went to help fund part of Biden's campaign for president. So all of that money is getting sent out and then being sent right back to the United States. This is why it's very lucrative for politicians to be supporting Ukraine, because if that stuff comes out and the rest of the population goes, holy crap, you mean the money, the billions that we've been sending over to Ukraine is actually not being used for that? It's going to fund an ongoing war? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Luckily, now they are getting the seized Russian assets, the interest on that is now being sent to Ukraine, since all of a sudden the writing is on the wall. The US will stop finance Ukraine, which means the European Union has to do what they should have been doing from the very start. Now, do I know everything about the corruption? No. Do I know there's corruption? Oh, hell
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Anytime you have
Ukraine, I mean, there's a reason why there are paved roads from the airport to the city center and to the Millionaires Row.
that. Yes.
The rest is just gravel.
Yep.
There's a reason for that. The big factories, paved road. Not so big factories, gravel.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, the thing that I harp on about is not necessarily the war. It's the shady stuff around it that's going on, because it will constantly go on. Regardless, if Russia came in tomorrow and took over Ukraine, do you think that it would stop any of the corruption?
No.
If-
it would be a
if-
different kind of corruption, but
Exactly.
it will still be corruption.
Because
Russia in itself is a country based on one person at the top under the disguise of leading a party.
Yep.
It's been like that. I mean, you exchanged the Tsar with Stalin,
Yep.
and it was the same garbage.
Yes. And Putin is one of the most dangerous men on the planet. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the
no.
wealthiest man who has ever lived, because Russia's money is Putin's money.
Exactly.
Now, did he make a shit ton of mistakes?
Oh, yeah.
The first 48 hours, because he exchanged competent people with yaysayers as leadership of the army, and they went in there with absolute crap.
Yep. Yeah. If he had actually sent competent people in there.
Oh, semi-competent. Somebody
Yeah.
who knew the dangerous end on where the dangerous end of a gun is.
Yes.
And they didn't. They sent in those semi-armored vehicles that has been in storage for years.
Oh, yeah.
And they went because the wheels.
Yeah, we're flat.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
so.
Doomless has less homelessness than the USA does. Yeah, because they tend to throw them in gulags. It's just they don't play around. You know,
And the standard of living and everything. Now, Ukraine started, but this was before Zelensky. It was I mean, they have shifted back and forth between pro-Putin and not pro-Putin.
Oh, yeah.
Since they became an independent country, semi-independent country. And then they gave back all the guns, and with the promise of safe borders, with the caveat that, okay, but don't try to be a member of NATO or the European Union.
Right.
Yeah. Now, as an independent country,
It becomes an act of war if they do.
Yeah. Should
It's-
they be able to make that determination themselves?
Right.
Yeah, but your neighbors with Russia.
Right.
And folks tend to forget, Vladimir Putin is an active KGB agent.
Yes.
He never stopped being an active KGB.
No, never.
I mean, the amount of lives he has on his conscience, or lack of conscience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Whenever I think it was whenever Tucker was getting ready to go over there, I was like, what in the hell is he thinking? like this guy will eat you for lunch, Tucker. I mean, this guy does not play around, and he made it very clear in that interview within the first few minutes. He says, if we're here to screw around, then we can do that, and I know how to deal with you at that point. He says, but don't come in here acting a fool, which Tucker had a very nervous laugh after that. Was like, well,
And
don't take
Putin-
light of this situation.
Yeah.
This is no laughing matter. And yeah, that was to watch the shift in Tucker whenever Putin was just like, yeah, we're not here to play around.
Yeah, and when he gave the history lesson of why Russia is Russia, Yeah, and he went all the way back, but not all the way back.
No, not
Because
all the way back.
no, because if he went all the way back, oh, Scandinavians. Uh, so
Exactly.
his Russia's history starts with the Slavic migration,
Yeah.
but Kiev was founded by Scandinavians. The Scandinavian tribe, the Rus tribe, which
Yeah.
and therefore then Russia, because the Rus tribe from the Roslagen area of Sweden was the people who went there and founded Kiev.
Yeah, this is very true. Worked with a gal from Ukraine. She said all over the country it's 50-50. Pro Ukraine, pro Russia. The pro Russia feeling isn't not concentrated on the borderlands. Yeah, that's very true.
Well, I mean,
I'm
the
not.
further, yeah, I've been to Ukraine, and I had a Ukrainian girlfriend whose sister was married to a Russian. So, I mean, up until 2014 and the annexation of the Crimea, they were friends, and
Yeah.
I don't know that the 2014 that was because Ukraine wanted to end the deal about having the Russian naval base
In Crimea, yeah.
in Crimea, and so that was a huge mistake. They didn't want. No, we don't want you there anymore. Oh, really? Said Putin. Hold my beer.
Yeah. No, Vikings didn't go to Ukraine to say hi. The Vikings went to Ukraine and basically just continued on into Russia. That's what
Yeah.
Nick is saying. There was no saying hi. It's like, no, we're here. This is
Oh.
ours now.
Yeah, oh, there's 20 of you. There's 400 of us. We're here.
Exactly. This is our land now.
Yeah, this seems like a good place to found a town. What will you call it? Kiev. Okay.
Well, yeah, Bush is pretty correct. Maybe you're not understanding. Biden has been the most dangerous man on the planet for 3.5 years. Yes.
Dangerous in weakness and incompetence.
Yes.
Because I don't care what you think about Trump. I'm not a fan, but I'm not
Don't
a
have
fan
to
of
be.
Biden. I would rather have somebody I didn't like, but with competence, than somebody I don't like who's senile.
Well, and
Nobody fucked with Trump when he
no,
was president.
no, like there was no wars that were started under Trump. He was that, and that's a rarity, especially because it's pretty common for Republican and Democrat to come in and start some damn bull squeeze.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and he actually went to got the Abraham Accords. Sent his what is it, his son-in-law to go over there and broker that deal. Like, this is what I want to have happen, and this is how it's going to have happen, and brokered that deal. Set a path for having a good amount of peace. And it wasn't too long after Biden was in there that what happened.
Yeah, have you seen that interview with people who was his security detail when he told the Taliban leaders, "We are going out of Afghanistan,
Oh yeah.
but if you touch a hair on American soldiers, I will kill you."
And then
And then he
proceeded to
whipped out a photograph, an aerial photograph
of his
of the
house.
Taliban leader's house, and then
Yes.
he just walked out.
Yeah.
That's power.
Exactly. Not coming in and going, well,
If Biden tried to do that, he would have walked into a closet and got lost.
well, here's the problem. I don't think Biden has been running it for the past 3.5 years. It's been people inside of his administration. He's just the face there. It's his administration that does all this, and all they do is slap him in front of a teleprompter.
Now, one thing about Kamala Harris, I want to know how close friends she is with Fannie Willis.
Who?
Fannie Willis, the district attorney of Fulton County.
Friends with who?
Kamala Harris.
Oh,
Prosecutors.
probably not. Probably not much at all. I mean, you also have to remember that Kamala Harris never graduated law school.
Didn't you? Uh,
She took the mini bar.
oh, the minibar.
Yeah. See,
Oh,
California has the mini bar. That's how she got in her position. So she was a side piece for what's his face, the guy that used to have some Montel, I think it's Montel Williams. She was a side piece for a while.
yeah.
Um,
Hence my question: how good friends? Because her history is kind of because Fanny Willis, whatever
Fanny.
Fanny. Yeah, I know she.
They can call her
Whatever.
whatever they want to. She's still an ass.
Yeah, and her tendency to go after married men.
Hmm. Well, and as did Kamala, Camel Toe, whatever they want to call her.
Hmm.
Harris, yeah, no, Willie Brown was later. Willie Brown is what got her into position of being a prosecutor.
Hmm.
That's who got her that position. He really pushed her
Hmm.
campaign. Whether it had to do with whether they were sleeping with one another or not, it didn't matter. All she had to
Hmm.
do is put that D in front of her name, and you pretty much are guaranteed that you get it.
Yeah.
And if you've got multiple people with that D in front of their name, well, you're probably going to direct them to the one who's giving you a little hummer under the table.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I live across the pond. What happens in the
Yeah,
United States rarely affects me.
exactly.
But I'm covering the Young Thug trial
Uh-huh.
and everything, the Fannie Willis, because Fannie visited the vice president's uh, uh, place, not the
Oh
White
yeah,
House, but wherever it is. I want to know the papers that was exchanged.
true.
And
Well,
that
yeah.
is why I wonder how close friends are they, because clearly Fannie Willis have met Kamala Harris.
Well, there's a possibility that that's why they're going so hard after Trump here in the
Yeah.
state of
Oh,
Georgia.
definitely.
You know,
She, Fannie Willis got $36 million in federal funding to clear the docket after the global event
uh
thingy.
huh.
And so
Yep.
far, she's used it on 4 trials, 4 RICO cases.
Yep. Yeah, you're following the Young Thugs. See, I'm not. I haven't been following the Young Thugs just because there's too much shenanigans going on for me, and I don't. You're lucky. The time that you're doing it is like a perfect time for you. I can't do that because if
Yeah.
if I did that, my wife would have my balls in a vice because during those hours, whenever you're streaming and doing trials,
Yeah.
I'm working. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, because I can work and then I can start earlier. I'm done working at about 3 p.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. your time.
oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and then I get home and I start streaming. Now, this new judge, Josh Whitaker, told in her first meeting with the lawyers, 8:45. And when I say 8:45, I mean 8:45.
8:45. Yes.
And you could almost see on the prosecutor's like, oh no.
Yeah.
It was so
Well, Camel Toe is going to be hit really hard on her accomplishments or lack thereof. She's going to be hit pretty hard on that. This is why they started framing pretty early. And I said this yesterday. They already know who running mate is. Okay, just like they knew that Biden was going to be dropping out after his horrible debate performance. That right there, they knew well beforehand that this was going to happen because as soon as Harris announced, she had all of her swag built out. She had cups, she had posters, she had all of that stuff the next day. You know how hard. Think about this, Nick. If you got 10,000 cups printed, just with whatever logo you wanted to have on there, how long does it take for you to get those?
about 6 weeks.
Okay, so about 6 weeks prior to her running her thing, or even a little bit longer than that, within 6 weeks, she knew that she was going to be doing this part of it solo. Now, then all you have to do is forward that. So whenever she does the DNC, she'll probably announce who her candidate is going to be. They already know who the candidate is. They've been printing up all the
I'm
swag, all
hoping
the
for
posters.
what's her name? Gretchen Witchcraft. What's her face?
Oh, Whitehole, whatever her name is.
Whitmer.
Yeah,
Whitmer.
yeah.
Because I want
The
to revisit the false kidnapping plot trial.
yeah, that one. Well, either her or Newsom, they and Butt Gig.
I don't trust women named Gretchen.
No, I am not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. I cannot claim that disgraceful job. No, I'm not a lawyer. My wife is, though. My wife is. But I do a lot of I read a lot of legal crap, and some of it is like beyond me, and I'm just like, yeah, it's always good to have somebody that's smarter than me, which is just about everybody. So
Now, when it comes to Trump's running mate, I mean,
J.D. Vance?
Yeah, never heard of the guy.
Well, J.D. Vance wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy. He was also a Marine. He used the GI Bill to go to law school, and he went to, I believe it was Yale. Went to Yale Law School. So he's not an idiot. He's actually a lawyer. His family. Whenever you want to talk about like poor upbringing, whereas Kamala tries to say, well, he came from this poor upbringing. No, this guy came from poor upbringing. His mother was there at the RNC, and she was touting 10 years sober, because she was really bad into, I think, alcohol, drugs, and it so much to the point that his grandmother basically raised him. And because mom was completely like just off her rocker in her meds, she was there, and she's clean, she's sober, and it's going to be a constant battle for her forever. But he came from nothing to growing. Whenever you have Biden say, well, we used to sit around the table and my father worked at Coleman. No, that's nothing compared to the stuff that Vance went through growing up.
Isn't
I think it's a bad
the daughter of like a professor or something?
Yeah. No,
But,
she's granddaughter of plantation owners in
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can always reference. Okay, there might have been some involuntary passing of genetics, but no, I have no idea. I don't know. But
her
parents, if I remember correctly, her father is a professor.
That might be right. That sounds right. Like I said, I don't have to dig too far into her because half the stuff she says is lies. So it's really hard to determine.
That's why I came on so quickly. By the way, the planting the trees thingy.
Yeah.
From late 80s, early 90s, there was a ton of those plant trees in Israel, save the rainforest, save these plant trees and they were all scams.
Yeah.
Basically nothing. So for her to bring that up as, I planted trees for Israel. If that happened when she was in school, that was a school assignment. Nothing she went into voluntarily.
Well, but they don't have that. There is no plant trees for Israel in Oakland. That's where she's from, is Oakland. All right, they don't have that. They did not start doing any sort of plant trees until 2015. That's whenever they started Plant Trees Oakland. But before that, in 1901 is whenever they started Plant Trees in Israel, and that was sending money to help them handle the ecological problem that they were having with there's just no trees there. And that's where that started from, is in 1901. And I think it was 1908 is whenever they probably became more of a foundation. But it's planting trees in Israel. It's not planting trees in the United States. I did a search on it. I couldn't find anything about plant trees in Israel and Oakland and anywhere in the 60s, 70s, or anything like that. And she was born in 64, I think is when she was born. So there's nothing there.
Kamala is she? How old is she? She's
59.
59.
Yeah.
Then she
Soon to be 69.
then she should have been born in 65.
No, it depends. Depends on
Yeah, it
what.
depends on her birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, the only things planted was tulips on organs. Oh, giggity, giggity, giggity,
Oh, that's a good one.
giggity, giggity. Oh, trust all women named Heidi. Hey, that's my middle name, but Whitmer is crap. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, but I did find it a little bit strange that was the first thing that she said. Well, I did just plant trees for Israel. I'm like, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. It's just like she said that she was in civil rights marches. Okay. There was no civil rights marches that she went to. If she did, she would have been like in a belly, or she would have been pushed around in a stroller.
I mean, that was. I mean, it was in the 60s, so maybe.
Yeah. No, not in 69
Uh,
or 64. 64, she would have been. She wouldn't have been old enough for any of those civil rights marches.
Yeah, all right. The civil rights marches was mid 50s to late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, she wouldn't have been born yet. This is the thing. She tries to relate to people by telling lies of things that she's done instead of actual things that she's done, which is nothing.
Who was it that I'm just derailing here? Who was it that was inspired by the moonwalk as a teenager, and then they discovered, oh no, you weren't born.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I hear this kind of stuff all the time. That
Yeah, I mean,
it's
people who try to make themselves a bit better. I mean, if I wanted to make myself better, who could check me out? Hey, I'm Nick. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. No, I do labor law.
exactly.
I mean, who the frick would brag about doing labor law?
Hey,
I mean,
why not?
I mean,
Well, it's like
it brings me
people.
like 5 views when I do some labor law stuff. I made doing labor law my interpretation of what's going on with Mr. Beast. That video haven't even hit 200 views.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, nobody's interested. When I talk about it, yes, it might be somewhat impressive.
Right.
But that's like being, no, labor law is not sexy.
No, it's just like dirt law.
I am, but my profession isn't.
Right. Same with dirt law. It's not a sexy kind of law. I mean, you're just sort of like, oh yeah, no, that's not a property line dispute. Just because you have tree roots growing up through the ground, there is some nuances to it. Like, oh, you have tree roots growing up from a tree on my property. Yes, you can take out the tree roots as long as it's not going to cause damage to the tree and cause it to fall. Then, like you can't take out a majority of it. But yeah, you're basically you can limb a tree as long as it isn't going to kill the tree off. You can limb that
depending
tree.
on which state you're in as well.
Yeah.
Some states have weird stuff. That's one of the few things I read on Reddit is tree law stuff, because it's so amusing when somebody misinterprets what they can or cannot do.
Oh
Because
yeah.
trees are kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Especially our 100-year-old oak tree. That's a couple of tens of thousands of dollars right there.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can just plant a tree and say we're even. No. You need to get a 100-year-old one, or pay the value of having a 100-year-old tree.
I was gonna.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And And because we handle certain business in certain areas of the world or of Georgia. Oh, I'm not going to pull that up. It'd take me too long to get to
Oh,
it.
yeah,
I
I am.
had.
I am in Atlanta on the 14th to 15th
Oh, you're in Atlanta on the 14th to the 15th of what?
August
August. So this month, 14th, 15th.
next month. So
Well, yeah,
I
it's
will
close
be
enough.
flying over to Houston on August 7th. I'll be
Okay.
in Houston that weekend. Then I will go to New Orleans, Montgomery, up and be in Atlanta August 14th to 15th because of the Young Thug trial.
Okay. Where
So,
where are you going to be staying at? Do you know already?
no,
Okay.
not yet.
Not yet.
I'm checking the websites to try to get some good motels outside of Atlanta because I don't want to be in Atlanta.
Well, run it by me whenever you've like looked at something. I can tell you if it's a worthwhile place that you want to be
Yeah.
because you don't want to end up somewhere like on Franklin Road or something like that. Yeah, you'd be like, I don't know
I
about
mean,
this.
because I will be driving to Atlanta on the morning of the 14th, so I can be in court when they open at 8:30. So I will be driving in from Montgomery.
My suggestion would be to if you're wanting to show up at court, I would suggest taking like MARTA to get there instead of trying to find
Uh,
parking because parking is a real pain.
Infamous Sylvia, another YouTuber who covers the Young Thug trial. She has agreed because she's been in the courthouse every
Okay,
day, so she will get me in there. Now parking and stuff,
has she been parking down at the bar?
I don't know. I don't know where
See,
she's been parking.
well, because if do you have a bar card?
No.
You don't have a bar card. Oh, I was going to say because if you have a bar card, or if she has a bar card, if she is an attorney and has a bar card, she can just park at the Georgia State Bar.
Oh, no, she doesn't. She is a former investor, retired investor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she might not have a bar card.
Yeah.
But I mean parking for the day is like, I don't know, $15 or something like that. But parking there in that area sucks so bad. I mean, it's almost easier to take MARTA there or even take Uber in, you know.
Yeah, something of the sort. I will
And that way you
probably
don't have
drive in, find a parking garage, and then take an Uber in.
well, a lot of times if you're going to be parked just for like the day, you can just park at a MARTA station. You
Oh,
know, yeah, you can park at a MARTA station outside of it, and then just take the MARTA train rail system. And the rail won't go directly there, but you get a transfer on a bus, and you're
I'll take an
right
Uber.
there.
I'm not
Yeah.
good with the public transport because hard of walking.
Yes, true. But that is, and you could still park at at a MARTA station. You know, if it's for the day, it doesn't usually cost anything, and then just have, go out and walk up to the front part and pick up an Uber from there. I mean, if I were you coming in, I would probably pick an area like Chamblee or Brookhaven, because if you're flying into Atlanta and you don't want to rent a car from there, you can get on the rail system and it'll drop you off like right there, and then you can have your car pretty much there. Because then you've got the rail system, but not all of like the crap that goes on the rail systems. Volstorm's like, no, don't go to Atlanta. Don't go to Atlanta. But yeah, staying outside of Atlanta is probably going to be a little. It just traffic sucks going in during the day because everybody lives outside of Atlanta. Like you would almost be better off being in Atlanta than being outside of Atlanta because the traffic is coming in, and then at the end of the day, traffic is all flowing out. So you're going with the traffic, and it's a mess. Like it could take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours just to get in, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, I will find a way. I will find a way. Let's see. I wanted to show you a little something here. No, not that one. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Atlanta is a balloon. Yes, it is. It is. It is a balloon knot. Trust me, it is. It is the. It is the puckered starfish of the South. I hate it. It's not as bad as Augusta, but it's pretty bad. Atlanta has the world of Coke. Yeah. Nick finds a way. Yeah. Nick finds a way. I love it.
Let's see here. Can I share this?
Atlanta is not a joy driving through it. I do not. I don't even like coming into Atlanta. Like if I'm out of town on vacation, coming back in, I don't ever want to be there.
I ordered myself a new cane.
Oh, nice. Nice.
This is called a hand-carved solid oak wooden knob handle self-defense cane.
Does it have a blade?
No,
Oh.
no, this is just solid oak.
Yeah,
And,
that'll put a hurting on somebody that wants to cause problem.
now I use that one is 39 inches.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a big dude. I need a deal because this cane I have here. Now this is fun for strolling around, but I can't lean on it. I will break it.
Right. Yeah, you need to have something that's going to be pretty solid. Oak or ash or
yeah, this one.
yeah.
Hopefully I will get it to me before I travel to the United States. It's in transit right now.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Do I know how to use a stick for combat? No comment.
No comment at all.
No.
Nick,
It's a cane.
It's
a cane. I'm mono walking.
Nick is a peaceful man. He would never do anything.
Here's the thing. Some people are fight, some are flight, some are freeze. Now, I can't do flight anymore.
Yeah.
So there's only two options left.
Yes.
And I'm not the person who freezes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I've gotten to the point where I just don't even still do. Filipino martial arts inspired a lot. Yeah. See, I never did all the never did all of the martial arts stuff. I wasn't so fortunate to be able to do that. And now I'm at the age where, you know, if I tried to do something like jiu-jitsu, I would dislocate something really bad and it won't heal. Like that would be the end of it. I'd be like MG Law.
I mean, I literally can't run. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, I was a decent runner, but then arthritis happened, and
Nick slams the end of his staff on the ground and says, "You shall not pass." Oh man.
Now I just need to get that either on the plane or a suitcase big enough to hold it, because 39 inches, I mean, I need a big suitcase for that one. But I also don't want to lose it in a baggage claim.
Yeah, you don't want to be losing something in baggage claim. Just especially if you're just walking with the thing, you're just like, listen, this is my cane.
I don't know if I can get on a plane with that thing.
You should be able to. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
You know, you can just say, listen, I'm disabled. This is something I need to be mobile.
Yeah, but then they could put me in one of these airplane wheelchairs.
Well, you're going to carry me down the aisle too?
Yeah, probably. Now I don't fit in one of those, so that's an interesting way.
Yeah. It's like, well, you're going to have to get about 20 of you guys to carry me, because, you know, I'm not a lightweight. I'll be happy to, you know, crowd surf. Go for it. You're not taking my cane.
I mean, when I was in my teens and 20s, sure, I could stage dive. Now, there would be Like splitting the Red Sea.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
You're winding down, you're hopping over onto Aussie. Why are you hopping on Aussie? Why are you hopping on Aussie? Yeah, you got to be careful about those Australians, man.
yeah.
You start hopping on them, next thing you know, you're dating a kangaroo, and that just gets crazy dirty.
You know what you get when you mix an elephant and a kangaroo?
What do you get?
Big holes in Australia.
Big holes in Australia.
It's so bad. It's
Oh,
so bad.
that is so bad. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Now I need to get to shopping because I'm almost out of my nicotine pouches. Don't
Absolutely.
stop doing those, kids, because
No.
it's not cheap.
No, stay away from all nicotine products. Nicotine products will be the death of everybody. Something or
Now,
other.
not because not all of you have the genetics I have.
Right. Right. Run away while you can. If
Yeah.
not, your knees will go bad.
Well, yeah, or if you try to get away from me, a brisk walk.
A brisk walk, yes.
You don't have to run, but you don't. I mean, at arm's length with that in my hand, that's about the distance you need to be away from me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So I think yeah, I've got probably about another 15, 20 minutes and some stuff I'm gonna be doing, and you're gonna hop over to Baker. Well, you guys fly, you fools, fly. So what have you got going on for today? What you got going on?
I'm waiting for states' replies to defense motions to start pouring in because today is the last day of that. But unless that, I will be waiting for my panel show at 6 p.m. where I have infamous Sylvia, Cadnot Williams. I'm trying to get AV for the Seventh Power on.
Oh, AV's cool. AV's
Yeah,
another
AV is
Atlanta.
really cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
but she moved to
Oh, she moved?
Boston.
She moved to Boston. Oh,
For
shame
law
on her.
school. Law school.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate for AV. AV's pretty cool. I enjoy her.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where we'll be discussing what happened with the Young Thug trial this week.
Very cool. Well, send AV all my love. She's an absolute dial. She's an
If I
absolute
can get her on my show because she has her own show as well.
Okay. Yeah.
But we will see. We will see. I will
Yeah.
have something done. Either it's a panel show or I'm doing a drinking stream. So
It'll be one of those two, or it might be a panel show where you're drinking.
it might be. It might be. It might be. The Wheel of Regrets.
The Wheel of Regrets. Yeah, I don't really do any of those. I have people pay me not to. That's what I do. Speaking of not to, I'll see you later, Nick, and I'm gonna play my coffee song that everybody has probably been patiently waiting for, and I'm gonna take a coffee break. Nick, it's so nice seeing you this morning.
Nice to see you again.
And we'll see you again very soon, brother.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. Let's get you a little bit of coffee break music, and I will be seeing you guys in just a few as soon as I get back from getting my coffee. Where did I put it? I thought I had it here. Did I move it completely? Oh, you know what?
Coffee.
I did. I had it on. I put it in a different spot. I am such a fool.
That Suno page, the AI songs. What a I really really enjoy making my own music.
Well, yes, I've released I don't know how many albums. You can see them on my page. It's like I've got 4 or 5 albums that I've released out so far, and I've got some new ones that I'm working on.
Do you get any views on them? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
little bit of ad revenue.
Yeah, I've actually gotten quite a bit of views on some of them. Some of them not so much, but other ones like what was it?
Yeah, but you never know when one takes off because music, it's not like a trial. Once it's over, people really don't go back and watch, especially not the young folk trial. Yeah, that. So
Yeah.
because we what we call a dog slender, what's the translation of that? The butterfly that only lives for a day.
Oh, okay.
That is the trial streams I do. I do that stream, and then for the next 24 hours, I get about 50% of the views. 50% of the views on stream, 50% on replay crew, and then it stops.
Yeah.
So it's not like I get this. So I'm trying to put out videos just to make something that people. Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Right. Well, and here, check this out. This is my coffee break song, and I will be right back with my coffee.
Yeah.
Here it goes.
Sandy shores get a tan, Rambo the orangutan. Driving a golf cart, oh man, Rambo is half crazy, yes he can. Well, that SOB's a sight to F and see. Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Whoa, Rambo's rolling, rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is, well, that is too dirty to say here. Shizzy on the dunes, coffee in hand. Rambo is a loon, and Shizzy is a, that is too dirty to say here, Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Otters in the surf, hummingbirds in the sky. Rambo honks the horn and spits in Shizzy's eye. Oh my! Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having an effing blast. Oh, Rambo's rolling. Rambo takes a turn, driving to the wave. Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand otter, it probably wasn't nice. Rambo takes a turn, driving to the waves. Otters wave their paws, telling Rambo, not sure, but if you could understand otter, it probably wasn't nice. Oh, Rambo's rolling, rolling, rolling. As the sun, he's free at last. While Shizzy has his coffee, these two are having a effing blast. So here's to Rambo, otters and hummingbirds by the edge of the ocean. And Shizzy, well, he might just be there too. Here's to Rambo, otters and hummingbirds by the edge of the ocean. And Shizzy, well, he might just be there too.
Pretty cool, huh? Like the visuals? Cool. Cool. Very cool. I love it. I thought it was very fun. And thank you, Nick, for stopping by. Have a wonderful day. Well, I'm not done by any means. So those of you that are still hanging out, you get to see a little more of the shenanigans of Jean-Luc, whatever her name is. This question just about broke her. Just listen.
My friends on the other side that the president is no longer a candidate.
Thank you, Corinne. Democrats on Capitol Hill are being handed this card with talking points. about the vice president and the border. Do you know who's handing this out?
I have no idea. You probably should ask her campaign.
So the first one says Vice President Harris was never appointed border czar. There's never been such a position. It doesn't exist. Why are Democrats so sensitive about the vice president and the border?
Why are Republicans so sensitive about actually not owning up to them getting in the way of a border deal? Why?
There was no border deal. That was a deal for Ukraine. Gotta go. Have a great day. You take care, Heidi. It was good seeing you. I'm glad you could make it by. Yes.
Why won't they own up to that? Why won't they own up to the last president told them not to move forward? It was a bipartisan deal.
So you're listening to a former president. It was not a bipartisan deal. It was bipartisans were working on it, but nobody agreed to it because it was multi-layered. They couldn't pass a bill that was just one single issue. That's how our bills need to be, is a single issue bill. You know, if you want to send funds to Ukraine, you work out a bill that sends those funds off to Ukraine. If you want to send money to the southern border, you work out a deal that sends money to the southern to help out on the southern border. If you want to send money over to Israel, you work on a bill that sends money over to Israel. I think the American people are tired of having 500-page bills, 1,500-page bills that once you read through it, you realize that there's a whole bunch of other pork in there. And it ends up becoming not a single issue that they're voting on. They're voting on multiple issues. This is not how it should be at all. It should be a single issue that you vote on. And guess what? They would have much shorter time in spending in D.C. and more time spending at home, handling things at home as they should. That's just too much money in Washington right now. Just to give you an idea, $81 million. It's over $100 million that Camel Toe raised for her campaign. Over $100 million in just a couple of days. What does that tell you? That she's raised $100 million for support. Now, does that say that Washington exchanged favors? It's tit for tat, and they layer a bill with their own agendas. Exactly. And none of that should be happening because it's not agendas that help out states. It's agendas that help out them personally.
On just right there, available to them, and they voted twice against it.
Yes.
Twice against it. Why are they so sensitive to moving forward and actually dealing on an issue that majority of Americans care about?
Because the majority of Americans don't care about Ukraine. And if they do, then they should be able to just pass that on its own merits. Don't tell me that you're trying to pass a law on the border whenever the only border that you're concerned with is the Ukraine-Russian border. That's all they were concerned with. That's all they looked at. That's all they wanted to deal with was the Russian-Ukraine border.
Is dealing with what's going on at the border.
Do you think that the border would be less of a talking point now if there was less migration to the border, say if somebody had addressed root causes of migration sooner?
Wait, hold on a second. Did you not?
Oh, salam. Slam did not handle the root causes. Oh my God, I've got to find this because it's so funny. Let's see, I'm going to find this. In, what was it? Ecuador? In song. In, immigration, locked in song, immigration, what is it? It was, what was it, Ecuador? Oh, yes. Yes, there it is. Yes. It was, yes. I want to see, Harris mocked in Puerto Rican song. Puerto Rico. How is it spelled? Puerto Rico. Yeah, this was hilarious. It was like 4 months ago that this happened. Jim Carrey and Maya. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's one of them. Here we go. And opening this in a new tab because this is what she was clapping along to, and I will show you this. This was the one that we talked about the other day. Her clapping to this. So check this out. No, Camille, what did you do coming here? Want to know what makes you think the colony? Long live free Palestine, Haiti too.
Long live free Palestine and Haiti. She finally stopped clapping, that is, once she realized they were mocking her. It's just another embarrassment, I think.
Yeah, another. It seems to be a daily thing, Stu. And you just witnessed Exhibit, Z, as far as why Kamala Harris is the most unpopular vice president in polling history. She's somehow more unpopular than Dick Cheney, who led us into a war under false pretenses and literally shot a guy in the face. So that's really saying something about Kamala Harris. And by the way, what is she even doing in Puerto Rico?
Thanks,
I know Democrats want to make that a state, but at last check, no electoral votes down there. And then she's there to talk about solar energy. Again, this is why, as a vice president on this ticket, you already have an unpopular president and a more unpopular vice president. The problem is you can't get rid of her because obviously that would alienate those voters of color who may be offended by that. And as we know and as we've talked about, Joe Biden's already hemorrhaging support among Hispanics and blacks. So there's your vice president and possible president if Joe Biden wins again and she has to take over for whatever reason. So this is something that Republicans should run on. Make Kamala Harris front and center in any campaign ad because she's a net negative, clearly, and not a net positive.
A vote for Joe is a vote for Kamala as president, and that's the way it is. Not another vote for you.
Oh my God, yes, that was exactly what happened to her. They mocked the ever-living bejesus out of her for that one. So whenever she's talking about what she's not been, what she's been doing, all of the wonderful things that Camel Toe's been doing. Oh, how wonderful is she? Oh yeah, that was her. Thank you. Independent fact checkers. No, I will say they are correct, except all of the news stations were touting that she was border czar. Now, I agree. She was never named border czar by Biden, but he put her in charge, as I showed last night. She was put in charge of the board. Did I show it last night or yesterday? I showed it one day. I think it was yesterday. She was put in charge of handling the flow of immigration. And this is why she didn't go to the southern border, why she went over to all of the other countries like Venezuela, and we're talking with them, and they didn't like her there either. She was constantly mocked. She did nothing to help out the situation whatsoever. And then came back and didn't even say, "Oh, it was a success. Well, it was a successful trip." What did you accomplish? Nothing. Did you stem the flow of illegals coming into the country? No. You made it worse because you didn't take care of our South like it was supposed to happen. You can't hear the poodle? You couldn't hear the poodle? I'm sorry. I thought I had the sound up for everyone. Oh, yeah. Let me say this. Someone's very much in charge. Yeah, someone's in charge of the president. President isn't in charge. And it's obviously clear. It's obviously clear. And it's a scary thought to think that these people with their extreme policies wouldn't be waving a white flag because they're weak. No, he didn't. He hasn't brought together anybody. You've given the appearance and lied about it, but he hasn't brought together anybody. He's created our country, to be more divisive. You got no sound? You should have sound. Does everybody else have no sound? That's weird. You can't hear the poodle. You have no sound. Huh. That shouldn't be happening. What I can do is I can just remove this and we'll try it again. Settings. Audio is working. I have sound here. I'm looking at it. I know that I have sound. I have sound there. Okay. So why do you not have any sound on this? We'll just stop the screen, present it again. Press briefing. Yeah, it says audio is being shared. No sound. Huh. Let's see if you got sound now.
NATO.
Any
He
sound?
got more than 50 countries behind Ukraine to make sure that they
Still no sound? That's weird. Let me see. Let me see if I think you guys are messing with me. We'll see. Let me do this real quick. I can pull it up here. Let me see. Oh yeah, you got sound now. All right. Okay. I'll go back and play it again for you guys because that shouldn't have happened. Here, we'll bring it back to here.
President ran in 2020, he talked about passing the torch. He talked about the next generation. He talked about being a bridge
No, he didn't.
to the next generation. And I
No, he
was
didn't.
asked, is that something that the president still wants to do and still cares about? And I said yes. And so this is part of that, right? This is part of what he said in 2020. He talked about unifying the nation. He talked about unifying the party.
Yeah, he
and
did everything
believed
to
the time
divide it.
Was now. The time was now to step down from
After
his
a-
re-election.
after a
and
horrible-
to move,
Horrible.
to move
showing.
ahead with the next 6 months, the end of his term, and that's what he decided to do.
Before he made the decision, he said that there were three things that could sway him: the Lord Almighty, a medical condition, and if his team showed him that he could not win. So was it because of the polling?
I can tell you it's not a medical, was not a medical
Okay.
decision, because I've been
All right.
asked before, and we answered that very straightforward.
Okay, so it wasn't medical. The God Almighty didn't do anything, of course. So what is it? What? So his party basically forced him out? Is that what he's saying? Listen back to what she said because it was pretty important. What she said about this. It's pretty.
Move ahead with the next 6 months,
Just
the
listen.
end of his term, and that's what he decided to do.
Before he made the decision, he said that there were three things that could sway him: the Lord Almighty, a medical condition, and if his team showed him that he could not win. So was it because of the polling?
I could
It was because he could not win.
I can tell you it's not a medical, it was not a medical
Okay.
decision, because I've been asked before, and we answer that very straightforward and in a very direct way. I'm just not going to get beyond that.
Finally, President Biden spent much of his speech talking about the choice that Americans face in November. Trump's campaign manager called it a campaign speech. Your response?
My response is it's not a campaign speech. I will remind my friends on the other side that the president is no longer a candidate.
Thank you, Corinne. Democrats on Capitol Hill are being handed this card with talking points about the vice president and.
Oh, you had to
the
take it up
board.
with
Do you know
them?
who's handing this out?
I have no idea. You probably should ask her campaign.
So the first one says Vice President Harris was never appointed border czar. There's never been such a position. It doesn't exist. Why are Democrats so sensitive about the vice president and the border?
Why are Republicans so sensitive about actually not owning up to them getting in the way
So wrong.
of a border deal? Why?
Yeah, he got the boot.
Why won't they own up to that? Why won't they own up to the last president told them
Wrong.
not to move forward?
Wrong.
It was a bipartisan deal.
No, it wasn't.
Just right there, available to them, and they
No,
voted
it wasn't.
twice against
It was a border
Twice
deal
against
for
it.
the
Why are
border
they
of
so
Ukraine and
sensitive to
Russia.
moving forward and actually dealing on an issue that majority of Americans
Because it
care
wasn't
about,
a single
is
issue.
dealing with what's going on at
It
the
wasn't
border.
a single issue.
Do you think that the border would be less of a talking point now if there was less migration to the border? Say, if somebody had addressed root causes of migration
Well,
sooner.
wait, hold on a second. Did you not hear the beginning of I know there were a lot of toppers, but one of the toppers, I talked about what we're seeing at the border. It's down by 55%. Not
No.
because of Republicans in Congress and what they did.
No.
It's because of what this president and this vice president did. They saw
No, it's because most of those people are already here. And this is also the time of year whenever it slows down, because they know that they're about to get their ass booted out of there if Trump comes in. And it's a waste of energy if they do. And most likely, why didn't he do this 3.5 years ago? Instead, what Biden did 3.5 years ago, the first thing that he did before he even came in, he told illegals to start making the crossing, to start coming in. You're absolutely welcome. We got you covered. That's exactly, not verbatim of what he said, but that was the gist of what he was saying. Whereas Biden saying, come on, Trump saying, don't come here. Don't be doing it. We're going to put up a damn wall. We're going to make sure that you get shipped right to hell back. We're not going to we're going to process you and you're going to be gone. That's it. That's it. If you want to claim asylum, you're going to have to go through the checkpoint to claim asylum. But not what Biden said. He said, come on, bring it on. We got you covered.
he moved forward and took actions to deal with what's going on
3.5
at the
years too
border.
late.
Republicans continue to block getting resources to the Border Patrol agents.
No. They had to take it into their own hands. The governors of those states had to take matters into their own hands. That's what happened. That is what happened. They had to. This little look on this chick's face is hilarious. The look on her face looks like she just is about to barf. Oh my God. Yeah, this is a lie. And this is common because that's what they have to do. They can't beat you on the truth, so they have to beat you with untruths.
They continue to block actually dealing with an immigration system. So yes, we are.
No, because you don't have an immigration system. Your immigration system is flawed. It is flawed, is broken. You're wanting to process people into the United States instead of sending them back whence they came because they don't belong here. And this right here, you want to talk about those border states. Those border states are not happy about it. It gets worse.
We are going to debunk the false the false, characterization.
You've debunked nothing. You've just shown how much you are trying to gaslight the American people, because they know that this is something. The old man told me the difference in Republicans and Dems. A Republican is like a responsible father, and the Dems are like a bad ex-wife. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, yeah. No, I would, and it's not all. It's not all. You actually do have some pretty solid Democrats that are liberal in a sense of, and see, it's people like Biden that have given the term liberal like a really bad name, because there's some that have they're a little more. They're a little more on the side of, we still want to protect the Constitution and the rule of law. But your diehard true red or true blue, they are so far separated from all of that the people that actually can and will, make things get passed through Congress, get passed in their states, are usually pretty damn down to earth people. Like, but you've got your career politicians like Biden that are not. They are so out of touch with the American people that they've become kings and queens in their own realm. And that's scary.
Of the vice president, she was not a border czar, and it's not just us.
But she was in charge of handling the border. She was that is what she was tasked with. I showed it yesterday. That's what Biden tasked her with. It was the talking heads on the news stations that were calling her a border czar. So, okay, tit for tat, whatever. We know it's bullshit.
Independent fact checkers have said the same thing, that did not exist, and that is not true.
And a different topic, Russia and China are teaming up in the skies near Alaska for the first time ever. Are you getting a sense yet, based on everything that's been going on, that some of America's enemies might be looking at what's happening here and think there's nobody in charge?
So let me just say this. There is very much someone in charge. The president is the president until the end of his term.
Does it mean that he's effective?
That
Have a good one, Starzy.
False. And we have seen the president bring together our allies and partners. He reinvigorated NATO. He got more than 50 countries behind Ukraine to make sure that they were able to defend themselves.
No and no. No and no. He has not done anything of the sort.
Against Putin. He stood up to Putin, and
No, he
he's
didn't.
done a lot more. And now, right now, as we're speaking, I believe it's still happening. The president is having a bilateral conversation meeting with the Prime Minister of Israel. So, who, by the way,
Yeah, that camel toe came out and basically lambasted. Yeah. Yeah, if that bilateral meeting went really well, I don't think so. I don't think Putin is going to be very happy. I mean, Netanyahu's going to be very happy with the way that turned out. And he's probably looking at, I don't have the support of the United States right now. And that's a scary thought. That's a scary thought that he's probably going home just like, oh man. Like you're telling me this is going to be the person that camel toe is going to be possibly the next president. That's a scary thought for Israel right there. That is a very scary thought.
way, the Prime Minister of Israel thanked the president for the work that he's been able to do in helping to make sure that Israel is able to have an ironclad security, right? And so that's that. But let me be clear. I want to actually address I guess, the basis of your question outside of saying there's no leadership. Our Department of Defense did not see this activity in Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone as a threat. North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, continues to monitor PRC and Russian activity near North America and to meet to meet presence with presence. U.S. and Canadian aircraft detected, tracked, and intercepted the Russian and PRC aircraft, and more broadly, the U.S. remains concerned about the PRC and Russian collaboration across all instruments of national power that do not promote global stability and security, not just in the Arctic, but the president, if anything, if you look at his foreign policy objectives and what he's been able to do and what the last administration did, the last administration ruined our relationships with our partners and allies. This president had
No.
to fix that.
No, not true.
And make sure that we actually.
Because these people that he cut off is that surprised that her nose hasn't grown across the room and hasn't sprouted multiple horns. Well, it's easy to put on that face mask, I guess. But this is everything that she's saying is complete. How would you put it? She's trying to whitewash history. It's not true. What she's saying is not true. And just because she's saying it does not make it true.
Mended our relationship with our partners and allies. And that's what we've been able to do. And a perfect example is what we're seeing with Ukraine being able to defend itself against Russia's aggression. Okay.
So yesterday and again today, you insisted that the president didn't make this decision because of a medical condition. It wasn't about his health. Yesterday, you said that he couldn't finish a second term if he won one. So was this decision to step out of the race just a political calculus? He just didn't think he could beat Trump.
I don't have anything else to add to what the president said himself last night, to what he penned and released to the American people on Sunday. Don't have anything more to add to that.
Of course you won't.
He wanted to unite the country. He wanted to pass the torch. He felt after 50 plus years of public service, the time was to do just that. I don't have anything else to add.
Do you have anything to add on what he teased about proposing reform to the Supreme Court?
So that is something certainly that the president would talk to more about in the upcoming weeks. Just for folks who may have missed that,
What he's talking about is stacking the Supreme Court. That's what he is planning on doing. He is planning on stacking the Supreme Court and adding more justices to the Supreme Court, which would be horrible. It would be horrible for both Democrats and Republicans, because if he does it, Republican comes in and stacks more people in there. The next administration comes in, they stack more people in there, and so on and so forth, until you have way too many Supreme Court justices, and then it becomes a political arm of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court becomes a political arm. Then it is not part of the judicial system anymore. It has just become another political entity. Can she speak? Oh my God, she speaks broken English. Yeah. This is going to get, like I said, this is going to get really crazy this election cycle.
he said last night, I'm going to call for Supreme Court reform because this is critical to our democracy, Supreme Court
No, it's not.
reform. And I answered this question,
And this is why we're a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. And every time you hear them say this is a threat to our democracy, yes, it should be. It should be a threat to mob rule. Mob rule is bad. We do not like mob rule. That is a bad path to go down.
I said this part of to a question yesterday. He believes if you are serving in high office, you should be held to transparency, accountability, and you should be held to a high ethics. That's what the.
Guess what? They already have that. They already have that high standard of ethics, and if you're going to say that, then why do we have congressional seats of people that have been serving in Congress without term limits? So how about this? You set term limits on Congress. Set term limits on Congress. Set term limits on senators, congressmen, all of them. Oh my God, her mouth should have spit. Yes.
president believes. I'm certainly not going to get ahead of the president, and he will have more to share with all of you soon. Get time.
I know many of my colleagues have asked these questions, and just given the historic nature of the announcement and the decision, I think it's important to get some more transparency. You just said that the president thought long and hard about the decision to exit the race, but also yesterday you said that he made the decision on Saturday night, and prior to that,
you could still think about something long and hard if he started thinking about it on Saturday night and finally made his decision on Sunday.
Well, then how come on Monday they already had the Harris cups out? How, if it was such long and thought about, then why was Harris ready to move and have her swag out there almost immediately? Wow.
that doesn't seem like a.
I mean, that's your assumption. But that's that is
No.
your assumption. Not everybody will have that
what we
same
see.
assumption or thought, right? I mean, it is a decision that he felt that he needed to make, and that was the TikTok of it, if you will. We were laying out to you how it happened, and that's how it happened. That's how the president said it happened.
And do you expect the president to address any further his decision-making process? As my colleagues have asked, we don't feel that we have gotten the clarity about how he made this monumental decision, and so obviously we would love an opportunity to ask him questions himself. But barring that, do you think we should expect any more clarity?
Look, I'm not gonna. The president's gonna make his decision on his own on how much more he wants to share. Obviously, he gave an Oval address and addressed the American people, as he said he was going to do in his letter back on Sunday. And he had a letter on Sunday as well. Maybe there'll be more that he wants to share. We have 6 months. Certainly, the president enjoys taking all of your questions. He'll continue to do just that. I don't have anything to share beyond what you've heard from the president on Sunday.
Of course you
and
don't.
his Oval address to the American people last night.
Just one last one on sort of the next 6 months. We just
not
have to quote you
good.
about this, but is there anything you can tell us about how operations at the White House may change, the president's schedule may change, anything else that reflects, obviously, he has a lot more time now that he's not going to be a full-time.
I mean, you're right. He has a lot more time now. He won't be a candidate.
bad.
That is true. And the president said he wants to continue
Yes.
his, obviously, as he was doing before, continue
Exactly.
and solely focused on being president and what that means and for the American people and delivering and building on
Doing
unprecedented
nothing.
successes that he's been able to get done, right? We still have a lot more to do. We still have to make sure there. I was just out about the Supreme Court, right? He mentioned
Oh my
that in
God,
his
our mother
speech.
should have
I
spit.
won't get ahead of that.
Yes.
That is something that he cares about. The ethics, right, and transparency, something he wants to make sure that is addressed. Again, not going to get ahead of the president, but he gave a little bit of that. He laid out what he's done for almost 4 years and making sure we're building on that, whether it's continuing to lower costs. He talked about that. Bringing down inflation, creating good-paying jobs. All of these historic legislation that he was able to get done, they still have to be implemented, right?
No, they
Whether it's the Chips and Science Act, whether it's the infrastructure bill, whether it's the Inflation Reduction Act. There's still a lot of work to get done to make sure that we
not
deliver
gonna
the
look
things,
good.
the good components of those now laws to the American people. Still a lot to get done. He's focused on it, and we will certainly have more to share. As you know, he's going to be going to Austin on Monday, and so stay tuned. Stay tuned. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kareem. So after President Biden said he was going to step aside and endorse Vice President Harris, Democrats quickly coalesced around Vice President Harris. I was wondering if President Biden sought assurances from other leading, Democratic candidates that they would challenge her, that they wouldn't challenge her.
I'm not going to get into specifics or behind-the-scenes conversation. I'm just not. And also,
Yeah, because that's what happened. They basically said Harris is going to be the nominee. Anybody wants to step up, we're going to smack you down. Because she didn't primary. This is a way that she doesn't have to primary, because there would have been no way possible that anyone, there is plenty of people that would have taken her down. Had Biden a while back said that he wasn't going to be running, but see, it's so far along towards the end of his term that it sent all of the the Democrat Party scrambling to try to get a nominee in there because they don't have anyone good. But this was a way to push to get her in. If you think that there might have been some shenanigans going on during the first one, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's amazing how these people can keep a straight face while lying to you. It's a practiced art. Botox helps out too. As you'll see that she really doesn't have any facial expression. Like the Botox helps.
So that's kind of on the campaign, the political side, so going to be careful from here. Look, I think it's important that what we saw the first 48 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours after the president decided not to run, the coalescing of support behind the vice president, which is not...
Yeah, they knew 6 weeks in advance this was going to happen, at least, if not longer. I would imagine that they've known this for quite some time, that she was going to be put in this position. They've been working with her, practicing, getting her. They've been trying to erase history. Dumping Biden was a coup. Yeah. No, it was this was intentional. This was the plan from the get-go. Okay? And whenever I say plan from the get-go, ever since 2020, this was the plan. Harris was polling so poorly. Her polling was so poor that they knew it would not even become believable for her to become president. Okay? So think about this, 2020. Who was on the ticket? Horrible people. Front and center was Camel Toe. They were promoting her. Oh, she's the best thing since sliced bread. She's going to get the women. She's going to get the black vote. So they were touting her as the next thing, best since sliced bread. She got completely destroyed. Bernie was doing better than her. Bernie and Biden were neck and neck. They saw the way that this was going. They got Bernie to drop out. Bernie drops out. Camel Toe drops out. Tulsi Gabbard left because she just was sick of their shenanigans. Booker, whatever his name was, never had a chance. All these people did not have a chance. And then why would he choose like the most unpopular person to be his running mate? Like the most unpopular person ever. I mean, she in a debate against Pence, she sucked really bad. She was sucking wind. If Pence didn't have the damn fly flying around his head, probably would have looked a little bit better. But yeah, that was her debate as vice president sucked bad. She got completely annihilated. Completely just destroyed. That's why it wasn't so believable whenever you hear Biden had the most votes. You're like, what? That makes no sense. Nobody likes the vice president. Nobody really gives two craps about him. And it was. That's why everyone's shaking their head. Like, why are votes changing at this time of the morning? Makes no sense to me. But you don't see what you see. That's what they tell you. What you see with your own two eyes, that's not real. But yeah, the whole goal this whole time has been to put her in power. That has been the goal. They want to market it as some sort of achievement because we not only do we get the first woman, we get the first black woman, but she is not. She's a mix. So she's half black, half Asian something or other, or Indian, I guess is the best way to put it. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I want to see that she gets 100 million votes. Right. Like that's going to happen. Well, I've had enough of her. I'm done. I'm done for the day. It's been 3 hours. I'm going to send you guys over to see Meme Copy. He's talking about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is what he is talking about today. And that's where I'm going to send all you guys to go listen to Meme Copium. Show them some love. Hit the like and subscribe on the way in and on the way out. Just know that we're going to have a good weekend. This is going to be a beautiful weekend. We're going to have a good time. I've got some more videos that are going to be dropping this weekend. So if you are a member, you will be getting those videos first. So just keep an eye out for those. Those should be dropping here probably in the next hour or so. I'll have a couple of new videos out for you guys. And in the meantime, be good to one another, and we will, like I said, we will see you soon. Peace.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.